Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to the Kickback Cafe, the show where we kick back, relax, and talk about anything but Disney. And Dragon, today we're talking about a story about a psychopathic killer who slices his own face off, staples it back onto his face, and then goes around threatening to slice up people's faces. Decidedly non-Disney, wouldn't you say?
Pretty much.
All right, so Dragon.
We never did see that Rescuers from Down Under sequel that was supposed to. That was the third one that was in development, though. So to be fair,
okay.
You never know.
Well, if it was going to take place in Australia, then a lot of messed up stuff happens in the outback, so they have material there. So, anyways, so of course, Dragon, this is going back a ways for you and I, but we started going through Scott Snyder's run on Batman, which was kind of connected to Gotham. This is all sort of going back to our Gotham recap show that we do. So basically, season 3 of Gotham, it was hyped that we were going to get the Court of Owls storyline. And Dragon and I read through Court of Owls. Of course, Dragon, you're a historian when it comes to stuff like this. So, I'm just reading through it for the first time. And, as Gotham Season 3 is come and gone and Season 4 is on the horizon, less than a week away, we decided before we get our speculation video out for Season 4, we're going to go ahead and discuss Death of the Family. Now, notably for Gotham, this was a particular point of interest for the Jerome arc in Season 3 because it especially inspired the look of Jerome. Now, Dragon, I just reading through it, it's kind of funny. You mentioned something off air that I kind of drew to. Now, you were kind of hyping me up on this, and I will admit, I don't think this is nearly as good as Court of Owls. I really don't. But it is some good stuff. It's got good artwork in it. It's got some striking imagery. Of course, the characterization of the Joker is top notch. I just don't think as a story, and especially as like an issue by issue, like basically with Court of Owls, the issues stuck out a lot more. Like with this, it's just sort of like, all right, the story kind of just bleeds together. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm disappointed with it. I'm just saying I think the hype was a little too high for me, which Dragon, you were kind of mentioning off air that was sort of one of the things that happened when this book first came out, was that the hype was really off the charts for it after Court of Owls, and some people were disappointed by it. So, so I gotta say, there's a lot of stuff I do very much respect in this. Like I said, this is hands down the creepiest interpretation of the Joker that I've ever seen. I mean, my God, this is most definitely a horror movie version of the Joker. So, yeah, that's my general take, Dragon. I very much respect this. I don't think it lived up to the hype necessarily for me, but that's more my own fault than anything else. So I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by the backstory you have for this thing, Dragon. Go ahead and get into it.
All right, so let me break it down for a little kind of the Snyderian history lesson here. So I'll probably cover a little bit of this with Court of Owls, but this is relevant, so I'm going to keep it kind of on point to how it relates to the Death of the Family. So. Scott Snyder, after a great story he did before the New 52, before the relaunch, before everything, called the Black Mirror. That's what got him to start at DC. He did the Black Mirror story, which is about James Gordon's serial killer son. Basically, his son basically started doing these backups about Jim Gordon, which were kind of basically Jim Gordon doing cold cases, and basically something really dark happened, and he found out that Jim Jr. from the Year One story, actually from the events that happened on the bridge, he actually developed into quite the monster, and he came back for revenge and kind of fed into Snyder's kind of great talent for telling horror stories. So that's kind of what kind of got him his big start and kind of got a lot of attention on him. And what's also kind of great is that we got a few kind of salacious teases of the Joker in this story. So that's the thing. Like, he was kind of like joke. He actually, James Jr. was so kind of so psychotic and so scary, he actually framed the Joker for a crime. And Joker was in the story, but you never got a good look at him. It was like he's always had like kind of this kind of need to tell a Joker story in there, but it's always been kind of in the background. So he's just been kind of holding the Joker story on the background there. So the point is, he does the story. It puts him on the front lines when they're doing the New 52. We really like what Scott Snyder did in Detective. Let's put him on a main Batman book, not just a main Batman book, in the one literally Batman in the name. Batman, nothing else. So basically, DC, they have a little story summoned. They're figuring out what kind of stories they're going to tell in the year. Like, how the heck are they going to go about this New 52? And in the planning stages, DC is suggesting all the writers, all the guys doing the Bat books. He suggested them in the very beginning. Avoid in the first year of this New 52. Let's avoid doing the big villains. Like Joker or Lex Luthor. Let's breed some new ideas, which gives us Court of Owls. So the way they wrote out the Joker in the New 52 initially, basically had to kind of. What's a reason we don't have the most iconic of all Batman's villains kind of in the universe? Why are we not doing another Joker story right out the gate? Tony Daniel, the guy who kind of took on the detective run. So again, Snyder went on to Batman while another guy took on detective. Tony S. Daniel, he had this idea. He basically had the Joker in like the first issue of Detective Comics, and this is kind of like the premiere thing. This happened before Snyder's book happened, I think. And basically, it's like, okay, so in the past, years ago, they had like a really stupid timeline going on where they tried to justify everything in the DC universe happens within 5 years. Which, of course, how the heck do you get how do you get 4 Robins in 5 years?
This kind of sounds like the current DC cinematic universe take on the Joker. Let's just do 3 different versions of him.
Well, yeah. So basically, what they did is with Detective Comics, they wrote out the Joker by having him run into the Dollmaker, and of course, we know Dollmaker from Gotham. That's again, Dollmaker was created in this book for the New 52. So Dollmaker essentially he removed the Joker's face. Again, the Joker didn't remove his own face. He allowed the guy to remove his face. So the Dollmaker cut off his face, and that was kind of his solution of, okay, well, Joker has his face cut off, so we're going to kind of he'll be out of the equation for a year or so. And Snyder kind of interjected, hey, I got a Joker story on the back burner. If you do that, I can use that as the inciting incident in my story. So after this first year, I can do a story with the Joker, and kind of have that face thing as kind of the motivator. And that's kind of bred this story. So there was a lot of. So I should preface it this way. Speaking of a little bit of confused continuity, there was a lot of continuity confusion in the beginning of the New 52 with Court of Owls, and especially with Death of the Family, and basically the writers, especially the diehard Bat fans, because you got to remember all the Batman writers were friends. They were all friendly towards each other. Snyder kind of led the charge on this, but they all just kind of assumed, okay, let's just assume we don't know, we don't even want to know how this ridiculous 5-year thing happens, how this works, like how to justify all these events, like Batman gets his back broken, and there are 4 Robins, and all this stuff happens within 4 years. It's all cohesive. They were scratching their heads at it too, and Snyder's acknowledged this, saying, guys, we have no idea how this works. As far as we're concerned, like everyone building their own continuity, assume that it all happened. We're just going to take what we like, build our own DC universe, essentially until DC puts their foot down. And to be fair, they didn't really put their foot down until the next story. So I mean, DC was kind of on board for that for at least 2 big stories for Snyder. So good for them. So basically, it's like it's very loose continuity. It's like, let's just assume it's in the main DC universe. Nothing's really, just nothing. No New 52s really happened here. Just like things look a little different. That's kind of the main gist of this one. Like the only continuity thing is like we have a few kind of miracle exemptions. Like Barbara Gordon, she did go through Killing Joke, but it's kind of a. In the comics, they brought Batgirl back instead of her being Oracle because she was in the wheelchair and she had like some treatment that allowed her to walk again. So basically, that's like the only thing you need to. It's kind of the only kind of accepted thing in the New 52 you have to roll with this story. Everything else just pretty much just assume it's just generally Batman.
Yeah, the Barbara Gordon thing was definitely, if it weren't for the callbacks to Killing Joke, I really wouldn't have a problem with any of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So essentially, just in this Killing Joke happened, eventually she walked in for reasons in other stories. That's all you really need to know.
She used the same back brace magical thingy that Batman used in The Dark Knight Rises. She's fine.
yeah, sure. Something like that. Just anyway. Again, it doesn't really matter what excuse they use because they were just like, well, we just needed to walk again. We'll do that. Anyway, so just the crux of the story that Snyder had in mind is that he wanted to tell a story of how Joker views how Joker views the Bat family and its effect on Batman, and he's trying to, and basically a story where Joker's trying to help Batman, out of love. He's trying to help Batman with kind of Snyder playing to his strengths, because Snyder's a big history buff, kind of like, let's look at Gotham as kind of like a historical kind of monarchy. It's kind of like a royal family, if you will. Of course, we saw a lot of in Court of Owls, so kind of a history of Gotham that's kind of Joker and Batman building their own mythology on kind of like the new royalty, if you will.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the things that initially let me down with this is that we didn't get into the, kind of like the big backbone, like roots of Gotham history that we got in Court of Owls. But you're absolutely right. This is absolutely about Joker creating his own mythology with Batman, and it's a very different kind of world building, but it is world building nonetheless.
Well, before we break things down, I'll not right now. I'm still have a little bit of background. I'll tell you why this story really fascinates me. Well, in a minute. Okay. So let's see. I think it might change it too. I have no guarantees, no money back guarantees.
Look, like I said, I respect this thing a hell of a lot. I probably have to read it one or two more times to really get a grasp on it.
And of course, just on the whole, this explores the dark idea that deep down Batman loves the villains more than he loves the family. Loves the Bat family, because there's people to worry about. Again, it's kind of that truth you see sometimes. Family men kind of like they reach that. We've seen even like works like The Incredibles. The family man is just kind of growing tired of the family now and again.
Sure.
And of course, the last kind of points to hit with Snyder, of course, Scott Snyder. He's very much a Batman the Animated Series fan. Kind of basically, Snyder's take on Batman is it's very much influenced by Batman the Animated Series, mixed with kind of the Victorian old school horror genre that he just works so well.
Oh, there is so much Victorian old school horror in this one. Oh man,
that's always been
like Scott I said, Dragon is an avid fan of the horror movie genre. This is like the closest I've seen to the Joker as like a slasher villain.
Oh yeah, and also he always said, he the way he writes the Joker as pure evil. He basically says he writes him as the devil. This is like he views the Joker as kind of the devil of the Batman universe. That's why he writes him as like the purest, most evil thing ever. It's like almost not human sometimes.
I love the inhuman quality we get to the Joker. Yeah,
you're gonna love some other stuff he's done in other stories in relation. This is just the beginning of that sort of stuff. So it gets, oh boy, you'll see it down the line. Anyway, let's say last thing, I guess, just to address kind of the reaction to the story too. So again, basically, so basically, here's the thing. Court of Owls had tie-ins, and that made a lot of sense for the story. It made a lot of sense for the story where, okay, well, a lot of things, basically Alfred puts the call into the family to help fight the Court of Owls because they're attacking everyone in the city. 40 important people in the city. Batman can't do it all by himself, so he calls in the family to help fight the Court of Owls, right? And they had tie-ins. It gels very well, correct? It
gels very well, and I also feel like I don't need to read the tie-ins to understand what they're doing in the story of Court of Owls.
Exactly, and that was a great balance. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. And again, I want to make it clear, this is not reflecting on this story, it's just reflecting on the events around the story. So basically, DC asked, and they didn't force it, they asked Snyder if he would like to kind of pull the same thing with Joker, show what Joker's doing in other books, kind of how he's kind of manipulating other characters. Can we have some crossover in the other stories? And then Snyder figured, yeah, sure. I mean, it worked out well for Court of Owls. Why not? And importantly, it doesn't hurt this story, but it just kind of here's the thing. It built up the event and made it look like this is going to be a huge event that connected to other Bat books that would have led to a big grand payoff, and it was just a small story. So everyone was expecting this huge payoff, like, oh my God, are we going to kill a Robin? Are we going to do death in the family?
Right. It was just like this little, and especially with what the Joker's doing with the villains, it's just this little sideshow thing.
So unfortunately, well, again, this still was like another, same thing with Court of Owls. It was another New York Times bestseller. People loved this book, and again, critics loved it too. I'm saying with the comic fans, again, the issue was that a lot of people just kind of saw it as, well, that wasn't a lot of payoff. It wasn't. It was an eternal payoff versus kind of a grand sweeping, like we did something huge going to affect Batman forever type thing.
So here's where I'm coming down on it. I think this might actually be just a little bit better than Court of Owls in terms of an overall narrative, because it is very much focused on Batman and Joker, and it's almost kind of like a spiritual successor to the Killing Joke. in that it's exploring the same sort of dynamics of their relationship that The Killing Joke explored.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I agree with that. There is a very much.
However, hold on one sec. However, I feel like the Court of Owls holds up a lot better as episodic storytelling. I feel like the Court of Owls, like I said, like each issue, each episode has its own identity and has its own like really, really unique thing going on. It's kind of like Daredevil Season 1 compared to Jessica Jones Season 1.
You know what's funny? I hear you on that. I understand exactly what you're saying, but I almost have the reverse of that with these.
Really?
To me, I mean, for me, these 5 issues, the Snyder stuff traditionally reads very well separated, but also well together. I mean, he kind of has that. But for me,
that's the thing that I really liked about Court of Owls, is that I feel like Court of Owls, like I said, all the issues really, really just stood out from one another, and yet the story as a whole was also very solid.
Yeah.
And where, like I said, Death in the Family, I think as a whole might be a better story, but the issues don't necessarily stand out as much.
So, it's tomato in terms of opinion on this one. It's like, you know what, it's point is we like the story. It's just, again, we're kind of comparing apples and oranges of quality.
Of course.
Let's see. So the last thing also is that the main thing to note is when this was released in trade, because of all that stuff, because of kind of the fan, not backlash, but kind of the fan confusion, the fan deflation. When this book was put in trade, they collected the 5 issues. There were a few alterations made, mainly to the ending, just to kind of spell it out that, hey, we're not changing the big overall game. It's just basically saying, hey, it's kind of family over kind of the cool kind of broader ideas that would pay off later on. It's a line altered here and there, but just basically, I think the issues kind of were better, and basically it's like Snyder doing the story he wanted to do versus like, well, I'm still going to do what I want to do. I'm just going to like make it a little bit more obvious.
Mm.
That's really all. That's pretty much all the background there. So,
all right. So let's get into issue 1.
Well, let me spell out the plot here. Let me bullet point the plot here, if I may.
Go ahead, really quick.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Joker had his. Here's the plot, folks. So Joker had his face cut off and went missing in action for a year, while the Court of Owls, all the Court of Owls stuff was going on. Now he returns to Gotham, scarier than before, with a big plan. He plays mind games with Batman by doing the inverses of his famous crimes. He kidnaps Alfred. He targets the Bat family, claiming he knows who they are, and Batman's keeping secrets from him. Batman tries to outwit the super scarily prepared Joker, leading to a horrific visit to Arkham, and ultimately a nightmarish dinner for the Bat family, resulting in the death of the Bat family. And in the end, Joker disappears, as he tends to do. So,
Yep.
Essentially, that's the whole ball of wax there for you folks.
Spoiler alert, no one from the Bat family actually dies in this story.
It's a symbolic death, darn it. Why does no one understand?
No, I totally got it, Dragon. I
know you did. I'm just speaking to the people saying, where's the payoff? What do you mean, where's the payoff?
All right, so let's get into it. Of course, we start with Gordon. Kind of some hard-boiled, like film noir style narration to start things off with. We should have seen it coming. There were signs.
So let me say this: one of this story, I think my 2 favorite chapters or issues, if you will say, in chapter 13, Knock Knock. I think it's 13 and 16. Were my favorite of the chapters of the story. If I had to kind of highlight my favorites, and I love such a strong opening to me, and it's kind of great that with this the opening with the GCPD here on top of me, and kind of a classic rooftop scene, not between Batman and Gordon, between Gordon and Bullock. We have talk of the city being personified again, which is Snyder's trademark. Which again, when Gotham the show kind of piggybacks off this, they're golden.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Again, this is kind of like we open it kind of like Court of Owls in that regard. We're talking about the city and just kind of how the city is a character and how it's kind of like affecting other characters.
Right. Okay.
I love the visual device of Joker in the van, in the Forget-Me-Not catering van, and this is cool on the reread, by the way. That you notice there are visual clues in the story of what the big payoff, of what the final issue is going to be. Because think about it. It's a catering truck. Forget me not. This whole issue is about, remembering past crimes, and of course, catering will factor into the last story big time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of really great kind of masterful visual kind of cues there.
Now, this is one of my favorite segments in the whole
Massacre at the
story right here.
GCPD.
Oh man, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the Joker being a horror movie villain right here, man.
Go back a page. Go back a page. I want to show them the big reveal. All right there, the whole the bottom panel. There we go. I love this. We don't see Joker's face for obvious reasons, because right now he does not have a face. But and again, I think I mentioned this with the Jerome arc on Gotham. You know, we kind of build up the face reveal, kind of like you know, stemming from this, and it's literally Gordon's like the one cop to see, like, oh god, no, just he knows the Joker's back, and he's in the GCPD, and oh boy,
and he has no face, because why not?
This is such a fantastic, scary scene. All the lights go out, and Joker is going around telling a joke.
All right, now, Dragon, I know you're adverse to haunted houses and stuff like that, but would you do a haunted house based on this scene?
I'm not adverse, though. I've been in haunted houses before. I'm just not for horror movies.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, could you imagine, like, because that's all I was thinking is, like, actually reading this book in general is how good this book and this Joker would translate to, like, a Halloween Horror Night style maze.
Well, yeah, I think it might be too scary, though. Just again, if look, let's just talk about this for a moment. Again, this is such a wonderful moment from this, such a wonderfully terrifying moment from this book, and just showing you how scary.
It's just a great kind of like mood setter right off the bat. You know what I mean? It really just shows the stakes of what the Joker's willing to do.
Just the thing that stuck with me so much from this book, and I love, and it comes back in when Joker returns. It comes back in a grand way where. I won't tell you how. I'm just saying it's this idea it's set up here, and I love we see it in another issue here too. Like, it's such a creepy idea where we established that Gordon's trying to quit smoking, as he perpetually always is in comics. He's always trying to quit smoking. Right. And basically, while he's doing that, you know, he's hiding around. It's kind of, again, I love kind of the world building that Snyder's kind of. He always hits home like kind of what the real world.
I will say, yeah, the Gordon's hiding spots was kind of like one of those Snyder world building details I really appreciated in the first issue for sure.
Yeah, where Jim's offered a day off to anyone who kind of helps Barbara's goal of helping her father quit smoking. But hey, find the hiding spots, and you know,
oh god,
you're gonna get like an extra day off or something. And what's great here is this Joker, again, just showing how eerily he knows people. He's been sleeping under Gordon's bed. He says he's been sleeping under Gordon's bed, and listening to him kind of like the woes of the day, just like how like all the sad things he says. Sometimes I just want to reach up and, you know, knocks the flashlight. And like, I love some good flashlight stuff, Tiki. And this is the kind of moments I live for in Batman, where you have like kind of darkness and a flashlight like this, and then Joker, he slaps it, breaks the flashlight. Gordon's like firing his gun off. So, oh my god, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And there's a bad entrance for you right there. I mean,
right.
Again, like Joker, like Joker appears, he's about to prey on Gordon. By the way, the terrifying thing in that scene is like Joker's telling one of the oldest jokes in the world. You know, like a man walks into a bar, he says, "Oh, that's the joke." In this case, a man walks into a bar, like, "What? You don't like that?" And, you know, he snaps the neck. He's going around. What about you, Officer Bradtree? A clown walks in a bar, and heard it before. Oh well, crack, and it's all good. That's wonderful.
All right, so yeah, I gotta say, I really do love the Batman and Gordon dynamic here. It's, again, Dragon, I'm getting the feeling like Batman and Gordon, like, it's not ever really a huge focus outside of certain stories, like year one.
Yeah, remember, Gordon gave Snyder his bread and butter. He's what got him into this, so he's always had a fondness for Jim Gordon, as well as I have.
I'm just saying the Gordon that I've seen in Gordon Owls in this, it's you know, he's very much kind of like in the background, but you know, but really services the story really well. Like, you know, this is a great kind of a kickoff event for the whole thing.
I really feel this first issue is out of all of them is the most Nolan-esque of all the issues.
Yeah, I can see that.
So let's see. So Of course, here we have just seeing how prepared Batman is, and it's kind of like a lot of this is kind of like Sherlock Holmes going against Moriarty, the guy who can one up him. In this story, through various points, Joker is one upping Batman. That's really eating away at Batman here. He's just kind of he's like too late to the punch, and then we see here as hard as Batman's trying here, he's trying to be prepared as possible, because unfortunately that's all you can do. You can't really anticipate the Joker. And that's what's scary. And in this case, Joker has been he's been pulling the inverse of his crimes. Like, he's a little bit more hands-on. He broke all the officers' necks by himself, by his own hands.
Yeah, that's definitely the scary thing about this whole thing is, the Joker's lack of cronies to just do his work for him.
Yeah, I just love the fact that,
It'd be like if Charles Manson just suddenly started going around on mass killing sprees.
Yes, and we do it in a way that doesn't feel like uncharacteristic. It feels like kind of the one of the great elements even the animated series have with the Joker, where Joker is scary in that show, because even though you can't really kill people on a Saturday morning television show, he's scary because he's unpredictable.
Sure.
And we kind of do that here, but we do it in a dark way where we can kill people. And in this case, it's the fact that he is doing the inverse of his crimes, as we find out in the story. He's kind of doing the inverse for a reason, for a message. And I love just I love the message to the crimes here.
It's basically kind of like a love letter to Batman in certain ways.
Absolutely, but also the message is, I'm disappointed in you now. Well, we'll get to that with the frowns. We'll get there.
Okay.
So basically, again, this is kind of Batman kind of informing the Bat family. Importantly, he's keeping them at arm's length. He's trying to keep them away from the Joker as the patriarch of the Bat family. This is also a little refresher. We have Nightwing, Dick Grayson, grown up Nightwing. Mm-hmm. We got Tim Drake, who was the third Robin, who graduated. They did this thing, I don't know. They made him Red Robin. They kind of graduated him from Robin. I know. Red Robin. I know. It's always been kind of they've kind of fixed them now, but for a while they still they wanted him to be Robin, as we all do, and no one really liked Damian Wayne, and now we kind of like Damian Wayne has grown on people now, but for the longest time, Scott Snyder even admitted, like in the story, he had to squeeze Damian Wayne because in the comics he was the Robin at the time, but no one was really crazy about Damian.
With Damian Wayne, like, he doesn't have a ton to do here, but there are certain moments with him, especially near the end. There's one particular moment towards the end that really got to me. It's one of my favorite moments.
It's not, again, Snyder impressively, even though he doesn't really, he's not a big fan of Damian Wayne, he did write one issue basically where there was an issue basically, again, the whole Damian Wayne gets in the comics, he got killed off, but then it got brought back. But the point is, when he got killed off, Snyder did like a morning issue on Batman where he bonded with Damian Wayne, which is really nice. It was a one shot, it was like one issue type thing. Mm-hmm. So basically, he's informed the Bat family here about what's going on, and this is great. And this is, again, kind of, we're playing with the history of Batman. So this issue, again, if you look at kind of these stream events, we homage all the great Batman Joker stories in this arc. Because this is an homage to Batman #1, where we go to then Year One and Man Who Laughs. We go to Arkham Asylum on a Serious House and Serious Earth, and of course, ultimately, Dark Knight Returns. We address all the big Batman stories, and on the whole, it's kind of like a big old Killing Joke as well. So a whole lot of Batman references.
I mean, I definitely picked up on all the Killing Joke stuff, but all the other kind of references, like, I knew they were references to other things that the Joker had done, but I was a little lost on the details. So
sure. But yeah, again, here's like the sense of history that Snyder's applying, which is so in his style, because this is the son, the guy who shoots himself in the head here. That's the son of the first man the Joker murdered. Mm-hmm. Famously from the book, where basically the guy died of kind of a time release Joker toxin, which is kind of what they've done in one of my favorite stories.
Now this is going all the way back to the Joker's first appearance in the comics.
Yes.
Oh wow, okay. That's cool.
That's what I'm saying, and it's been retold a bunch of times. But essentially, the way Snyder's kind of referring to is like, oh yeah, that was the first issue was like Joker's first crime.
I mean, I guess I should have figured they would have pulled something like that. I guess I just wasn't thinking of it as like the very first appearance of Joker in comics history, and that did tie back to something like that. Yeah, that is really neat. Now that I know that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good, good. So what's interesting about these issues, Steve, is what I'm saying is like it's almost issue by issue. They keep doing like an era of Batman. Like this first issue is very much so. This is like you do Batman #1, you do The Man Who Laughs, and you do Laughing Fish, especially the really early era Batman stories. And Laughing Fish got adapted in the animated series, which is my favorite episode of the animated series. So again, you have like a lot of deep cut Batman stuff in this first issue, and then we get to more of the notable stuff as it goes on.
Sure.
It's kind of interesting there. So like all this stuff right here with the mayor. This is all Laughing Fish. This is all kind of the initial payoff. Laughing Fish was kind of a redux of Batman #1 in a way. And it was kind of like, of course, with the whole in Laughing Fish, you have the idea of a two-part Joker compound. Where basically, you dose the guy with half of it, and then it's like, this man will be dead by midnight. And you realize, oh my God, he's done something to the room that's gonna interact with the other drug. It's gonna cause that's why the guy's gonna die at midnight.
Oh, that tricky Joker. He's always up to misleads.
And I love this. And again, knowing this history, Batman, and that's the thing, Batman knows these crimes like the back of his hand, so he's preparing for as much as he can. That's why Gordon's in here with like a fleet of men. And here was a great scene, isn't it? I love this. Every time Snyder's
This is one of my favorite Batman and Gordon scenes that I've read in a comic book, keeping in mind I haven't read many Batman comics.
Oh yeah, I love this scene too, and this is great for many reasons.
I just love the idea of it, just the talking through the hole in the elevator.
It's really cool that in Snyder's stories, in Court of Owls, we had the whole like the autopsy scene where basically he's holographically kind of projecting himself. And it's like we keep reinventing how we're going to have a Batman Gordon scene, and here we're doing kind of Batman in the elevator, which feels so classic, Batman Gordon. Like again, like Batman would be in the alleyway while Gordon's like talking to him from behind because he knows he's there. It's that sort of thing. And what's really wonderful about this scene here is that there's this great bit, and I on the reread, I kind of had a great thematic thing I picked up on. Is that I love that in a way Jim represents Batman internalizing his emotions in the story because Jim has this great bit where he asks, does it show in my voice? Batman being really supportive, he says, no, it doesn't, Jim. And of course, he kind of
I really love that. Yeah.
And what's so great in this monologue is him basically Batman.
You can just see in the way that Gordon's drawn in this panel, like he is scared shitless. You know what I mean?
And also, let's give props if we haven't already, because as much I throw around Scott Snyder's name, but the biggest, most famous collaborator of Scott Snyder's is the great and talented Greg Capullo.
Of course.
One of the best Batman artists, I got to tell you. So again, these two guys, for me, they're the new O'Neill and Adams. Seriously, they're the next big names in Batman.
I think the only reason why this didn't stick out to me visually quite as much as Court of Owls is just because he didn't get to like do a super trippy surrealist maze in this one.
But again, we do some the closest we get to that is some stuff in the Arkham chapter, which we'll get to.
Yeah, and I think the strongest art in this book has to do with like the way he draws Joker's face. We'll study some of that as we get into it.
But yeah, like this bit here, this is what I'm talking about. It's almost where Batman is basically kind of giving props to Gordon here, where he's saying, Jim Gordon, he has to downplay his emotions because basically Batman's lying to him here, saying it doesn't show, and it absolutely shows. And Batman's trying to make him feel better. And what he's doing in this scene, while he's saying that he respects Jim Gordon, he is also saying he's admitting an inner monologue about Jim Gordon, how he's feeling about himself in all of this. Like Batman also has to internalize, but he's like saying, "I respect a man who can do that." It's kind of what he's doing there.
Yeah, for sure, really good stuff.
And again, there's this frown here. So this is like we're taking Joker's unpredictability to a whole new level. And the message of this crime, Tiki, is I'm disappointed in you, which is why in the Red Hood thing he's going to say, I'm so, you make me want to frown.
And this was the point where I was just on the edge of my seat reading the story, is the whole, like, it's everyone else. I'm like, oh my God, the Joker is just consistently one step ahead of these people. My God. This is like an intimidating villain right here.
And I love this. And oh my God, I love that the Batman figuring out what just happened, in addition to finding out like the two chemical compounds that kind of like interacted that caused the frowning thing, which is just terrifying. He finds like, he has Alfred on the Batcom basically kind of give him a listing of like a few chemical ingredients that were in this thing, and it spells out ACE for Ace Chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
Takes the next location. Now, here's what I'm talking about: this Ace Chemical thing. So the message of the crime was, basically you make me want to frown for frown. Basically, I'm disappointed in you now. He's hinting at what he's going to be spelling out. He's going to be literally saying to Batman in the next issue, but we're hinting at it, saying, "I'm disappointed in you," which is making me want to frown. And let's go to the past. Let's go to where it all began at Ace Chemicals. So that's kind of the logic of kind of our
it's
events.
Just such a twisted, like one-sided romance on the Joker's part. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
This is just, of course, the fun kind of logic here of like, Joker has he's not even in this scene, but we reveal that that's Harley Quinn in the Red Hood costume, and reveal it's Harley Quinn in the Red Hood costume. The fact that Joker has like a little speaker, so he's actually speaking, and I love that Batman can tell just the body movement that you're not the Joker. I love that. And again, I love that we're teasing the fact that we're still not seeing Joker's face until the very end of this issue. Like for a moment, you're thinking, is Joker wearing the Red Hood thing because he lost the face and he's all mangled looking now? Like what?
Right. Like is that the way that the Joker is gonna look from now on? It's just the Red Hood look.
And think about
is that going to be his MO?
Exactly, which would be kind of cool at the same time. Again, either or, and
it'd be different.
It would. And think about the build here is that Harley Quinn says, he's not the same Mr. J anymore. How terrified would you be if Harley Quinn of all people is telling you, "Oh, no, I work close. He manipulated me into being, his hench girl. I don't even recognize him anymore. He's different and scarier now."
Mm-hmm. And this is what I'm talking about with kind of like the shades to the Killing Joke.
Yes, very much kind of like the knock knock and shooting Barbara right through the spine.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I mean, Jesus Christ, look at that right there! Wow.
Our first glimpse of the Joker. And again, folks, there's some editions that sell this along with the book. Sell a mask of this with the book. It's horrific.
I mean, this truly is just, I don't know. Like, I kind of wish that the standalone Joker movie that we see kind of incorporates this kind of design. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we saw it with Jerome, and it was great. But, I mean, can you imagine this with, like, like $100 million budget attached to it?
I love this, Tegan. The difference between this and the Jerome look is that Jerome was... I like that at least Jerome varied a little bit. That Jerome had staples, and this Joker is literally held together by essentially paper clips and essentially paper clips and rubber bands. Like a leather strap, and then basically all like these metal clips to hold it in place like that. So it's paper clips and rubber bands holding his face together.
Right. Yeah, you're right, though. I do like how both the looks kind of differentiate from each other, because I do like Jerome's look a lot, too.
So, I mean, to me, Tika, this is like a great kind of one-off in itself that kind of builds, like, oh my God, and then we reveal the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now, folks, we have some backup stories. Now, I'm going to highlight the team that worked on the backup stories, because in addition to Scott Snyder, you also had Scott Snyder's writing partner, James Tynion. I've pretty much met all of these guys except Jock. Out of all the guys worked on these stories, Jock was the artist that got Scott Snyder to start with the Black Mirror story. That's why he always loves the favor of Jock on the covers, and especially in these backup stories when he can, because again, the two of them worked to kind of got their foot in the door of the Batman universe together. So, and James Tynion really kind of gets the villains, and it's kind of something he's really proud of himself on. That's why we have a lot of really good in-depth kind of. I think Tynion loves the Batman universe, and Snyder loves kind of voicing the villain psychology. I want to say that's kind of their meld.
And I will say, I think this is probably my favorite of these one-offs that we get within the story.
Yeah.
I really like the psychology behind it. I like how much Joker's messing with her mind.
And again, we see why she said what she said to Batman here. He's not the loving, like. It's not kind of like the Joker and Harley, Joker and Harley Quinn versus the real world dynamic we're all familiar with, like the whole right away, Mr. J. It's not exactly that anymore because she's expecting that, like, what do you need, Mr. J? And he's just kind of going to this creepy monologue. It's kind of what the new Joker we have here. He's creepy and playing with expectation in a new way. He's saying, "Oh, you have to cut your face off too now to match me." He's telling her the first time that he tells her to undress, and he's like, so she can put the costume on, but let him explaining what she's doing. Like she's in the dark completely on this.
I love how her face is obscured in these shots too. It's visually very striking. It's not great Capullo artwork, but it still holds up really well, I think.
Yeah, I remember again, Tiki. One of these days, we'll backtrack and we'll get to Black Mirror. The thing kind of started this all, and this is kind of like the psychological. Like Black Mirror is one of the most psychologically driven of the Scott Snyder stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and boy, oh boy, we kind of hit on a little bit of that here with just how descriptive and like look. I love the sense of color because this story is. Well, I'm sorry, I'm thinking
Like,
of later
this
story.
is the kind of color I wish that the Suicide Squad movie would have gone with instead of like the weird neon look.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, look at like the use of red and green here, just very appropriately and kind of
And the
Joker's
purple.
color. Oh, certainly, yeah. Of course, the purple. I love that we don't get the purple suit right away.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the story also is called Tease, just to kind of get out there. And again, like I love the explanation. You think, okay, she's seeing red because now the blood's kind of coursing over her face, but no, it's the Red Hood mask. I had you, didn't I?
And this is just, man, I could make a poster out of this paneling, hang it out of my wall. I mean, this is art right here, man.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, okay, on to
all right, so on to Funny Bones, issue
Funny
14.
Bones. Yes. Oh boy. Let's get right into it.
So of course we pick up where we left Batman off, kind of in a death trap. And again, we kind of pulled the classics with Batman here.
I love how
Batman,
animalistic Batman looks in this panel.
and I love again, Tiki. That's a foreshadow to the very end where Joker's trying to, in some ways, bringing out Batman's animalistic nature here and there about his kind of the Bat going after his demons.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean this is all great. And
Here
again,
we get kind of like some monologue about about the chemical compounds that's going to pay off at the end.
Yeah, and again, I love we kind of take the classic '60s Batman death trap and we make it very very uber serious. Again, I'm not saying it's just in reference
Kind of
to
like
60s.
Gotham.
Exactly, but I'm just saying. Again, we've seen Batman in death traps even before and after the '60s show. I'm just saying it's kind of like you always have a little bit of '60s here and there, very very sparingly. Far more kind of serious context. But what's so great about that monologue, as you said about the chemical compounds, is that importantly, we establish with Batman here. Batman is kind of. I love how in Batman's head we are in this story. And as much as we were, I felt we saw more of what Batman was going through in Court of Owls. Here we're actually in Batman's head a lot more.
Yeah, I got to admit, I was a little thrown off by the narration at first, but I do think it works really well. I mean, the only reason I was thrown off by it, Dragon, which is totally like unfair of this story, and like I got over it very quickly, but when it comes to Batman, like heavy narration in Batman books, Frank Miller is kind of like the go-to guy when it comes to that.
Of course, Dark Knight Returns.
Let's just say Frank Miller Batman has not been very flattering as of late with the narration. So I don't know, but no, this is handled way more classy than something like All-Star Batman and Robin or something like that.
Like the main inner monologue we got in Court of Owls was again about the history of Gotham, which is cool, and that was kind of built into kind of the story details we needed. Here it's just like we're getting to know Batman even more, where we're establishing with his character here, and it's important about him and the Joker and the relationship here, and that he's basically saying I studied the chemical composition of the vat the Joker fell in. So basically, I've gone over it like 1 billion times, and I know it like the back of my hand. And he does this every time so he can prove to himself that Joker is just a man who fell in chemicals. And the reason he kept looking at it is seeing what made Joker so insane, what made him kind of like a step above the rest, like what was in that chemical, what was in that chemical that turned him so evil and so crazy. And it's just, again, he keeps reminding himself throughout the story, he's just a man. He's about to go into like, how does he do this? Like,
that's one of my favorite parts about the inner monologue as a whole. Like, he's just a man thing.
I know, exactly. I love that Batman has to convince himself that Joker is, again, he's not the devil, he's a man.
Dragon, you're gonna have to point it out when we get to the monologue about looking into the Joker's eyes versus looking into other people's eyes, because that's one of my favorite.
That's the next chapter.
Okay, cool.
It opens the thing next chapter. Anyway, so this is great. I love the art. There's a panel here. It's coming up. Said when Batman finds a cassette tape. When he puts it, keep going.
Keep going. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, let's get next page. Here we go. That's the one right there. Well, above it, right?
Okay. This.
Right next to that.
My bad.
There we go.
This?
No. Right. Tiki. There you go. So I love that Capullo. What he did here is he made the cassette player look like Joker's face, a little laughing at him.
Right. That's a detail I didn't really catch, but I'm glad you pointed that out.
But yeah, this
again, I can see how this story would be very rereadable. It's got a lot of nice little details in it.
So, Tiki, what was your take on the cassette thing with Alfred?
I don't know. I mean, I thought it worked just fine.
Well, I mean, this is basically Bruce kind of finding out that Alfred is not only is gone, but he is in the clutches of the Joker. And he's being tortured. Like, oh, you're not blindfolded, old bean. No, I'm using ammonium on your eyes. I'm just going to do it again for fun.
I mean, it reminded me very much of Heath Ledger Joker and kind of like the news broadcast stuff that he would do in that movie, Dark Knight. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a very terrifying scene for sure.
All right. Okay, so so Batman, while he's just initially being a little wigged out by the Joker, he's now being taken really off his game because, again, essentially his father has been kidnapped in the clutches of the Joker. So he's now, I mean, Batman's all business now because, Alfred's life's at stake. And, of course, the implications of why did he target Alfred, of all people.
Mm-hmm.
So let's another Batman Gordon scene here with a really dark payoff.
Right.
And of course, now I find it interesting. This scene on the reread, bear in mind, I've read this story a bunch of times. I didn't really kind of think about this until now. Where I think it's really interesting that Alfred and Gordon are taken out first in the story out of all the Bat family members. Gordon's kind of like an honorary member of the Bat. Through Barbara, he's kind of a member of the Bat family. Of course, just how he works at Batman. So I think it's interesting that they were both taken out, kind of the father figure and the friend figure to Batman were taken out first. And of course, we see after Alfred is gone, he then goes to protect Gordon. One, because he's the next lead on the tape, but I think on another level, it's because he's like in this. There's this great bit in the next page where Gordon being classically as Gordon, he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not gonna be afraid of the Joker. He's willing to tranquilize Jim Gordon to make sure he's protected. I think it's a testament to their friendship in a way. It's like he'll trank Gordon if he has to, if it means protecting him.
Right.
So that was nice, and this is like a beautiful detail. To go back a page. There's a really great callback. One more. There we go, the bed scene. So that bed thing, of course, is in great reference to two things. One, it mirrors the shot from year one. It's the composition from year one of Gordon, with Barbara pregnant in the bed, and Gordon like on the edge of the bed, just kind of thinking about life, thinking about, can I trust this Batman?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of city am I in? And of course, what he's thinking in the scenes is Joker under my bed right now.
Oh God!
But it's a sad betrayal of Gordon in the scene, though. Again, now he has like all this additional stuff on his plate to worry about, just knowing how all the 19 cops that are dead because of the Joker. And in the previous page, this little clipping that he gets out here, the reference to Killing Joke. I think it's a really nice. It's a really nice kind of real world character trait that Gordon convinces himself that he basically a reminder of the worst day of his life, but simultaneously kind of the day when the system worked for him, where Joker was arrested after putting Barbara in the wheelchair.
Yeah, I could see that. Nice.
It was a nice touch, and of course we see Gordon just as Gotham's bleeder, which again I love that from a writing standpoint. That Gordon is kind of Gotham's bleeder. He's the punching bag of Gotham in many ways. He is.
And once again, Dragon, this story just keeps amping up as we get like, oh no, not Gordon, no.
Oh yeah, I tell you, there's some stories that Scott Snyder's done where I've actually been worried he was going to kill off Jim Gordon. I'm not going to lie to you. This wasn't one of them, but there were some others where I'm like, oh God, is he going to do it? I don't want him to do it. There's one comic that actually killed off Jim Gordon. That was, oh God, I don't want to get into it.
Okay, so.
So we set up the reservoir thing here.
Mm.
Do you want to weigh in on that a little, or?
I don't really have a lot to say about this, man.
All right, let's see. So set up the next scene, basically the ending here. We end on the bridge. Now, importantly, the bridge is the end. Again, I like how we're kind of going our story here. Again, Gordon was the next victim, and with Batman Year One ended with Gordon mentioning the Joker. As Batman Begins ends as well. Like, hey, Joker's the next bad guy. where Gordon says, "Yeah, some clown is threatening to poison the Gotham Reservoir. I'm going to call a friend for help." That's how year one ends. So again, we reference year one with that bedroom scene, and Gordon's an ex-victim, and we're now going.
Okay, see, this is kind of the thing where it's like, this is why I don't really have much to say about this scene, is because I don't know, like, it's cool that they work all that history in there with this story, but like I said, is kind of just a casual fan of Batman who's not really going to pick up on all those little callbacks and details. I'm left a little bit out of the loop, so I'm sorry that I'm like a little unenthused at this point in the story. Trust me, I'll have more to say once the story picks up more, but
well, I'm just kind of adding kind of the context to it, but as is just the fact that again we're exploring a previous Joker crime where this was kind of like Joker's big kind of announcement crime, like, hey, I'm going to make people laugh in Gotham by drinking the water.
For sure.
So let's see. So then we have like the big altercation, and again, this is like a great scene here where Batman on the way, he's reminding himself, don't think about it, Alfred. Don't think about all the horrible stuff he's doing. Bruce, stop it. Don't think about it. Which is very realistic kind of thing we all do privately to ourselves sometimes, where we want to avoid thinking about something, we catch ourselves thinking about it. So again, really, he really gets the voice of Bruce down. That Scott Snyder is just so darn talented a writer.
Well, I think more importantly, it gets the struggle between Bruce and Batman.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we have there's a separation of Bruce and Batman sometimes. In this case, we see Snyder does view it as it is Bruce, but Bruce's name is Batman essentially.
That's a good way to put it, I guess. Yeah.
Of course, we have the big old now. At the very least, I think everyone kind of caught the Dark Knight Returns of it all here. Like, hello, darling.
This is a great sort of like Mexican standoff type moment.
Oh yeah, and again, this is like, and basically this is wonderful, and this is the whole thing of Joker again being. We play with the unpredictability of the Joker in the first issue. Here we're playing on Joker knowing Batman so well. Batman thinks he knows the Joker so well, and I think a thing that's coursing through a lot of this story is after A Court of Owls, Batman is he was confronted with the whole story of like, hey, you thought you knew Gotham, but hey, whole secret organization you never knew about. He thinks he knows the Joker, but now he has some doubt about that, and that's what he's battling in this.
Like that, like questioning what Batman knows about Gotham is sort of like Snyder's MO at this point.
Yeah, but I love it. It's kind of it gives like a layer of aftermath for the whole Court of Owls thing. It's kind of making Batman kind of question himself now a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure, and it definitely is kind of like a driving character element that makes me want to go forward and read even more Scott Snyder stuff. So, props to him there. It's a good continuation of the arc we started with Court of Owls.
Yes, man, I love that you was calling Batman the predictability of their age-old dance. You know, the whole "you're going to throw batarang at my head" that you're keeping behind your back right now. Again, he knows
it's kind of a callback to like some of that Killing Joke dialogue.
Yeah, and also he's kind of outlining like how the reservoir thing went last time. You're going to throw the battering at my head, and then you're going to save the victims. But here's where he pulls the unpredictability on him. I did it all. He basically pulls a Ozymandias on him, pulls a Watchman.
I did it 30 minutes ago.
Essentially, yes, that's what he does here. The victims are already in the water; they're dead. Of course, the chattering teeth kind of spider.
I love the chattering teeth. That's a great gadget.
It's a cool way of how the heck. I love it from a logistical point of view. How are we going to have Joker exposit such a great monologue to Batman when Batman's just going to want to punch him in the face and get answers about effort? How are we going to manage that? Well, we trap him, so he has no choice but to listen.
I also kind of like the symbolism of like all the Joker wants to do is talk to Batman. Mm-hmm. So what does he do? He traps him with the clattering teeth.
Yep. So this is great, and essentially, Scott Snyder, every time he kind of hypes a Batman story, he will pull kind of a monologue from the story, and then this is the monologue from the story he would use to sell people on the thing. He knows this he knows this very well. Or he goes in like the previous panel, the whole thing about calling him the Bat King of Gotham. And again, I love the royalty and everything in that.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I'm talking about with the artwork, where just like the different angles of the face and how we see it like peeled on, and like the like the layer of like exposed flesh. It's it's
the fact you can see his eyes, but you also see like one of them's like all bloodshot, and the other one's just kind of eerily clear.
Right.
It's the most unsymmetrical, creepy design ever.
Oh man.
And again, I want to hit on the monologue, because the monologue again is the crux of the story. Is the whole whole thing is that, again, it's the let's go back 2 pages. There we go. That one. You go on the panel where Batman's all tied up there.
Okay. Sorry.
There we go. Perfect. So I mean, yeah, this is great. Basically saying that, basically establishing what Joker's plan. This whole thing is like he loves Batman. He's trying to help him. He's saying, you've gotten soft. You've gotten old and soft, Batman. Look at. I love that he cites Court of Owls, and this hits upon the thing I love most about the story. Is what I want to linger on. Is that I think the story is so fascinating. How Snyder, he took the fan point. He took a classic fan point of view on Batman. Is that, the classic fan point of view that a lot of people like myself who grew up with the animated series, we like the solo Batman stories. We have to throw Robin or the other members of the Bat family in the mix. Not, again, sometimes Batman works better solo a lot of the time. And you always have to work away. Yeah, there's the Bat family. We like the Bat family, but, sometimes the solo Bat stories are some of the best ones. Like the animated series did a ton of those.
For sure.
And what Snyder did, and this is what fascinates me about the story, is that he took that point of view and he explored it to its darkest degree via the Joker calling Batman out on this. It's like Batman being called out by his biggest fan, who is the Joker, and it's also it's holding up a mirror to Bat fans, saying, "Hey,
yes, it makes Bat fans the Joker in a way."
I know, right? Isn't that interesting? And he's saying like, "Hey, you guys like Death in the Family, where we killed a Robin? Well, hey, we're gonna do." That's what Joker's saying. You fans are a bloodthirsty bunch like I am. I want what you want. It's like it's a very meta context to the story. Or, he's saying, you guys love the drama of killing a Robin and a solo Batman. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to help the guy out. I'm going to, he needs to realize that, hey, he needed Court of Owls. You all love that story. You saw Batman being put through the ringer. Well, what does that signal to you? Batman's lost the step if he needs to call in all that help. If he's not like the super perfect Batman who can do everything himself that we're used to. Again, we like the flawed Batman. That's kind of Joker saying,
not
hey,
the goddamn Batman.
Exactly, and Joker just. And Joker's place is that he wants to help with that. That's the thing. Like, I'm the jester. I give you the worst news, like a Robin's dead. The city's in peril. Like I deliver your worst nightmares. And I put a smile on it. And again, it's really interesting. He's calling him all that, and he's trying. And deep down, he wants to help him. And the deeper context that we're going to get into in the issues as it goes on, is that he wants to kind of get Batman back to his prime. He wants to get him back to his prime and kind of become a symbol with him. It's like, you and I are the symbols of good and evil in this world. We don't need the family. It's just going to be you, me, and your villains. That's what you are, Batman. And again, he's calling him on what Batman is, what we as a culture identify Batman as being. It's Batman reflected by his villains.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
All really just fascinating stuff. And of course, we should address the whole, how do you feel about Joker? Maybe knowing who the Bat family is. How do you feel about that story?
I thought it was a good kind of pool to kind of draw some tension. I liked how my favorite part of it is how it did exactly what the Joker wanted it to do, which was draw tension between the Bat family. And I like how we saw that play out in a very natural way.
Oh yeah, so that's what he's doing here too.
And then in the end, I did really like the reveal at the end of
Oh sure. Well, we'll
how this whole plot line comes together.
Yeah, but still, like the identity threat is made that, hey, I know who all of you are, and in 72 hours you're all going to be dead.
Mm.
Okay, let's get to the Penguin story, Men of Worship. This is a good one. This
okay. I don't think it's as captivating as the Harley Quinn one by any means.
Well, personally, my favorite is the Riddler one, which we'll get to. But
the Riddler one might be my second favorite one.
That's fair. Basically, what we're doing here in the backups is that we're starting to establish, the roles of the other Batman villains. If Joker's the jester, we're figuring out what the other Batman villains' roles are in the grand, like what they are to Batman in this royal kind of setting. Where Penguin is the bishop. He kind of oversees the religion of crime in Gotham. I got to tell you, the religion of crime in Gotham, it makes a lot of sense in a way. It's an idea with a lot of truth.
Again, a lot of this Scott Snyder stuff is very much tying into the stuff that we're getting in the Gotham TV show.
Uh-huh.
With the Joker, with the Penguin being the, as he calls it, the king of Gotham, right?
Yeah.
So, Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
And it's again what Joker's doing in a way. While he's trying to help Batman, he's also trying to shake the villains from apathy too. He's trying to help the villains, with the exception.
I do like that. I do like how the Joker is kind of like, like creating these inciting incidents to basically like, he's like the most twisted, like personal fitness trainer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to kill all the people around you so you'll get off your butt and get motivated.
Exactly, and it's kind of interesting that with the exception of the Two-Face in this story, he's pulling a Two-Face from the Dark Knight on a lot of these guys. He's trying to kind of get them to be more villainous.
I can see that, yeah.
Or, he's basically saying, hey, Penguin, you've taken a hands-off approach, and you're trying to be on the up and up, the legitimate businessman. You're respecting kind of the lines that are drawn with the other crime families. You're maintaining peace instead of killing your competition like the Penguin we know in Gotham would. In the show Gotham would. Basically saying, you gotta go to war, Penguin. Look, I killed all the lieutenants. I'll take the rap for it, and you take this opportunity. You kill the underlings now. Gotham is yours. You draw the lines, man. And of course, Joker using the umbrella weapons, which is also really cool. And we have kind of a gothic setting inside this church with dead bodies as far as the eye can see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, issue number 3.
Yes, issue number chapter 3, issue 15. But here's the kicker.
Oh God, okay.
Now, this opens. This is the one you love. This is the eye thing.
Yes. Oh my God, this might be my single favorite page.
Yeah, see if you can. I don't know how you can zoom in on that. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, just click on the panel, Steve. See if you want the dialogue, but whatever you want. Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, so. Lead us in. How you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I just like I said, this is definitely one of the things that captivated me about this interpretation of the Joker is that he's inhuman. Like the whole idea of like every time Batman looks into other people's eyes, there's like 6 different eye movements, 15 variations.
Yeah, the pupil contraction thing.
It's like he's got it down to a science. But then when he looks into these eyes, it's nothing. It's just a glazed out blank stare. And Dragon, like I said, that's just one of the things that really fascinates me about this interpretation of the Joker is like the otherworldliness of him.
And in moments like these make me think Snyder would be so at home at Pixar because he kind of follows the Lasseter philosophy of Snyder is a slave to research. He does so much research, it's astonishing because again, this is like all based in reality, and again, he knows his stuff. Again, all the architecture stuff and in Core of Owls, he knows his stuff. He researches his stuff, especially with the medical stuff because his wife is a heart surgeon, so he actually you can call her and ask her all these technical questions. I mean, the guy knows his stuff. Yeah, like the fact that certain wants me like fear and love and all sorts of different emotions. And I love how full circle is at the end. We at the very end of this we go full circle with the eye thing. We find out like a detail about the eyes we didn't know. We'll circle back to that. So let's see. So basically, we pick up with the bridge scene here. We have this great bit with Bullock here. We got to talk about. Mm-hmm. We see it's just how smart and how just again this is the Joker who knows all your worst neighbors. Again, he is very devilish in that Bullock's saying, "Hey, give me an excuse, freak. Give me an excuse to blow you away." And Joker just says, "Hey, remember when I was snapping everyone's neck at the GCP? Does that mean you've fallen off the wagon?" Basically, seriously, he calls Bullock out, and again, he was trying to be sober, and now he's calling him backpedaling. And again, all his friends are dead, and he just kind of leaves Bullock speechless, which is a rarity.
Oh yeah.
And I love this here. We're Batman. Next panel here. Well, next page, I should say. There we go. Batman jumping through the fire. It's great. Basically, the police's lives are being put at stake. Batman he loses the gauntlets, and he's been figuring a way out as Joker's been talking. He's burst through the fire like as the bridge has been blown up, so he is not like locked on the other side. Jumps through the fire and just punches Joker. This is right.
One of the things that Gotham kind of emulated right here is like the punches taking the different parts of the face off.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was referencing on Gotham. I was referencing this moment right here.
Oh man.
Like Gordon punching Jerome's face off comes right from this moment.
Look at that. Just look at that.
Oh boy, and Greg Capullo was really excited drawing that.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure he had a ball.
It's really interesting that Tiki, until unless you have the physical book, or just Google images, I guess, if you want to be real technical. Basically, you never see Joker without the face on. I mean, we don't see what he looks like. We glimpse it. We never get like a full view until you get the book where you can actually take off the cover and you can see what it looks like. And it's real creepy. They do it like it's like a see-through cover. Basically, if you remove like the top layer, you can see what's underneath, like your face. It's horrifying. But and again, this is great too, and this is an homage to the Black Mirror story, where again, the idea Joker can secrete his skin like Joker toxin. So in this case, it's a paralyzing agent. So Batman's paralyzed in this moment when he punched the Joker with his bare hand.
Mm-hmm.
He's paralyzed, and Joker just kicks him into the water. Now, I will say this: this actually is my least favorite issue of the five.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about this one either, and I must say, when we got into like the Bruce dream sequence, I don't know, Dragon, again with the labyrinth, I was like, oh, this is going to be really kick ass, and it's like, nope, it's just kind of like a weird sort of fake out.
I love how the axe thing is foreshadowed here, though, and that's really cool.
No, you're right. It is. But
I will say that here's
my own expectations and the whole like playing into Court of Owls and everything, But
well, again, I think the next one is the most Court of Owls-esque. But anyway. Let me say this. Here's my issue with it, and I want to make it clear, it has nothing to do with like this story in particular, and this like the events swirling around it, because there's a timeline issue here that doesn't affect this story, but with all the tie-ins, which I'm just list off the tie-ins. We don't have to go through them. There were about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 7 tie-ins to this. Mm-hmm. Like a few issues per tie-in. So you had Batgirl, you had Nightwing, you had Batman and Robin, which was Damian's story. You had Teen Titans, which was Red Robin. You had Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is Red Hood. Catwoman, which was a decent one, by the way, because basically Joker went to her and saying, "Hey, you're his Black Queen. You keep him. You keep him in shape with the pursuit and everything." It's kind of what the whole was there. And Suicide Squad, which is the least impressive out of all of them. Unfortunately, again, I hate saying that now because of the movie. But seriously, the Suicide
trend, right?
Here's the thing: the Suicide Squad was the most disappointing because, and again, it makes me. I don't want to just like cast aspersions on. I'm just going to say, the reason I didn't like the Suicide Squad is kind of what one of the movies they're flirting about making right now. It was Joker versus Harley Quinn. And basically, Harley Quinn fighting the Joker just never felt right. Like, that doesn't feel like Harley Quinn, man.
Right.
Anyway, so my issue, and the reason I bring that up is because we have no idea the timeline of all those. It's brought up here that, okay, so Joker announces 72 hours, they're all going to be dead. And in these tie-ins, basically Joker comes after them, they fight him off, and then ultimately they are captured by the Joker. That's how the tie-ins go. And you can understand, well, if you read those tie-ins and then you saw this issue here, like, okay, they're all there with Bruce, and they say, hey, we had a run-in with the Joker. Why are they not captured?
Yeah, I can.
And later on, we kind of again,
it doesn't really affect the story as I read it, but I can see how if you're reading everything, it's just sort of like, okay, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
And again, I just want to say that's just purely on the tie-in of it all. It's not on this story. So again, things do slow down a little in this scene, though. It's not. It's the one thing I will say to the story. It's not bad. It's more dialogue heavy than it is kind of. It's kind of narrative heavy. I do like the history though here of the fact that one of Joker's early crimes was kind of pulling an 89, gassing the place with a Zeppelin.
This is such a great visual too. This looks like some 60s Joker antics right here.
And you're not wrong, Tiki. Again, it's kind of pulling from 3 things: a little bit of 89, a little bit of animated series with the Zeppelin, and with the blimp, I guess, and also a little bit of 60s with kind of the puns here. Like, no, but I'll take some teeth.
Yeah, good stuff.
And but this idea too. What did you think of this, Tiki? The whole the whole does Joker know, does he not know, with the whole the card setup? We get the origin of the card.
I really like how the natural drama gets worked into this whole situation. And it was a good mystery. It was kind of like the main mystery is like, does Joker know? Does he, like
could he have pulled off this inhuman thing? And basically the idea is, there was a drop off in the cave. Basically, you're in the Batboat. It's like also kind of a submarine too. You go deep into the water,
Mhm.
And basically, there's like all these sorts of caves and crevices, and there's like this giant dip point. Basically, it's like the point of no return. If you're a human, you have to let go before you go in there because you'll be dragged underneath and you'll drown to death.
Mhm.
Basically, could Joker have pulled off the impossible? Held on to the boat ever since he landed in the water, held on to, and then basically been taken back to the Batcave and left his card to mess with Batman's head, and indicating that he knows. Or did Joker just like adhere it to the Bat boat, then just kind of it was just there when Batman arrived.
Yeah, good stuff. Good setup.
Again, I really love that he tied it into like, the origin of the big card in the Batcave. It's like he has the little one, the big one's a reminder of like, hey, Joker's don't mess with the Joker.
Right.
But basically, it's like that whole thing of like, hey, the Joker's not to be trifled with. Essentially, that's what it's a reminder of. It's a reminder of.
Also, it very much reminds me of like the ending of Batman Begins when you see the card and you're like, oh, there's more dangerous stuff to come.
You're not wrong with that. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, that one I didn't really think about that one, but you're right. I can't take that one away.
But just in terms of like the impact of seeing the card, you know what I mean? Just think about it. Like that was one of the great kind of like endings to a comic book movie that we got where it's like we didn't need to see the actor, we didn't need to see the the character. All we got was just the image, and we knew exactly what it was, and we knew exactly what it meant.
Yeah, it's basically they did a better version of Year One's ending in a way because we mentioned okay, there's a guy trying to poison the reservoir. In this case, we saw the card like oh boy, we know it's the Joker instead of like hinting at hey, it might be the Joker.
Right.
So so again, basically, this is a thing to hit with Bruce here is that again we see.
And you are right. This whole issue is kind of like a giant exposition dump.
Yeah, but the thing to take away with Bruce's character though is again this is kind of a post Corvallis Bruce where Bruce he wasn't sure about the Corvallis. Bruce it has internalized for many years about this. Like no, there is no way Joker. There's no human again. Convincing himself that Joker he's just a human guy filled in the chemicals. There is no way he could have done this. In every deductive way I can think of, there is no way he could have done it, so he does not know. And there is a bit of a runaround here, basically the family saying, why didn't you tell us? Don't you understand? There was nothing to tell you. That's where they kind of hit a runaround. It's not bad, but
it gets a little repetitive. It's like, all right, I get it. Like, this is a lot of dialogue to read through to get to the same point like 3 times in a row.
Again, I think that's just for me. That's a minor gripe, but it's like it's not bad though. It's just it's kind of we get it.
So
let's see. So following that, so again, Bruce is and importantly, again, this is them kind of playing to the Joker's hand of Joker trying to kill the family of Batman, the family's going to lose faith in Batman, and vice versa. Where they're doubting Batman, and in this case, they're not trusting him like they used to. So, and Batman's kind of breaking off from the family now, going solo, playing into Joker's hand, absolutely, because Joker wants the solo Batman days again. So, Batman's going off. He's doing some detective work, and he's finding out what the Joker has planned at Arkham, which I want to say the next page or two. All right. We have this great foreshadow. Basically, he visits a guard. Hello? Hello? Tiki, are you there? Anyway. So yeah, what's really great in this issue too is like where we get to the ending here.
Sorry, man, I had to step away for a minute.
Come and leave me hanging and turn the page.
Sorry about that.
Anyways, let's get to the next page. We can get into the guard thing. Let's get to the crash right here. So linger on that. The bottom panel, T? Can you get the bottom panel? This is important. I realized this on the rewatch is that this scene is really is a great foreshadow for Joker's end goal with the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you'll notice as Batman basically describes, like he kind of lists out the guy's bona fide, father and father with four boys, and you'll notice again it's 4 dark-haired boys, a female,
or Robins.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you'll notice the age. Seriously, look at them. The ages match up identical to the Robins. There's the young one, there's the 2 older ones, and there's the teenage one. And of course, you have a dark-haired man at the head of the table, and there's a girl. He's not exactly the same as Batgirl by any stretch, but just the point is there's a female there too.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, yeah, the crash here. But again, I love you feel sympathy for this guard. That basically, I love kind of the horror implication here that Joker has basically threatened the families of every guard at Arkham to do his bidding. That's how he's got Arkham to become his henchman.
I also like how in this moment we get Batman as kind of like a horror thing himself. You know what I mean? He is very scary when he just crashes into this poor family's dinner. You know. And
again, Tiki, I'm so glad, brothers. It kind of occurred to me as you just said this. This is Batman kind of destroying well, again, now he's not destroying his family. He's definitely kind of, it's symbolic of Batman destroying his own family here by, just kind of being Batman.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of he kind of destroys kind of this happy family dinner.
For sure.
And of course, here we build to like the last page of this issue, which is a great full circle thing where Batman kind of shares with us, the audience, that the fixed point of Joker's pupil, like the one time he saw it change, or basically like the one time he saw it change, or the main fixed point that it's always on, intimates love.
Mm-hmm.
And I love we kind of have it's very assault. I'm sorry, I was about to say Assault on Arkham. It's very Arkham Asylum, Serious House, and Serious Earth, where it's Batman going into the crazy, scary, surrealist Arkham Asylum. And it's very much structured like this, where just he walks up to the staircase of Arkham and he enters.
Again, this whole story has a very film noir vibe to it with the art style and the narration and everything.
Oh yeah, and we have a good backup. I mean, this is my favorite of the backups with the Riddler. We see what Joker's doing inside of Arkham, which is kind of a good note to end that issue on. By the way, it's like, hey, let's little tease of what's to come in the next one.
Mm-hmm. Which, of course, the Joker taking over Arkham is kind of like a classic story, I'm sure.
I'm sure fans of the video game love that, by the way. The whole, again, not only just fans of Serious South and Serious Earth, but mainly the Arkham games, which, of course, they're the first ones.
Of course, yeah, that's the whole crux of at least the first game.
Yeah, especially the first, and the rest are just kind of like the awesome aftermath of it. Yeah. But yes, so let's see. So this is a great tease, Dean, because the next storyline Scott Snyder did is the Riddler is the bad guy. And this is a great little tease of what he could do with the Riddler.
Nice.
And I love he does the most super intelligent Riddler you've ever seen. He really does.
Yeah, I really like this interpretation of the character.
Yeah, it's a tease of just how great that's going to be. And I love this idea that Riddler is, as Joker kind of again his comparison for the Jokers that he's the strategist. He's the strategist that keeps Batman smart, keeps him the world's greatest detective. And the idea that he's calling the Riddler. I guess we should talk about the horse thing before I talk more about the Riddler.
I don't even know what to say about the horse thing. It's just so creepy.
I love that. There's a hilarious. Again, I love the dark humor in the scene here where he says, "Steve's broken too."
Oh God!
I love that the Joker wanted again. It's so ridiculous here. Joker.
Oh, you know what I was going to bring up too with the horse is that this kind of reminds me of the line in the second time we see Jerome in Gotham when he's like,
"Oh yeah,
I want a pony."
You're right. That's hilarious. But no, seriously, it cracks me up now just thinking about it. Joker he needs the horse. We know he's going to use the horses for in the next issue, but he doesn't let him walk down the hallway. No, he wants the live horses carried on its side. That's what he wants. Like the most inconvenient. That's just Joker screwing with people. He wants to go back a page. They show him how ridiculous. That's how he wants the live horse carried in. Right. And again, Joker's just doing that to screw with people. It could just be let down the hallway. Okay, now of course with Steve here, poor Steve gets his leg broken, and like a horse gets his leg broken. Steve's broken too. He shoots him point blank in the head.
Yep.
So seriously, what Joker is doing here with the Riddler is brilliant. Again, how he's motivating the Riddler, saying part of him respects the Riddler, and that Riddler is so smart. He can escape anything. He can escape the cell anytime he wants, much like the Joker. He can escape anything.
I like that idea with the Riddler, that they just have to be on such high alert security-wise with him.
Yeah, and the idea that Nigma is just, he's saying, Nigma, you're just getting complacent right here. You can escape anytime you want. And basically, let's change that. Help me do my big plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this, that Nigma's saying, I love also that he wrote it on the back of Jeremiah Arkham's diploma, just the screw.
Right.
my arc, but on the back of it, he basically outlined the plan. And I love this. The next issue, the next backup of the next issue, Riddler is taken out of the equation, but he knows where the other two villains do not know what the plan is because he's looking at this diploma. And he is like, you see how shocked he is by it. By like, oh, I have an idea of what you're doing. He looks at, oh my God, what are you? Again, the smartest man in Gotham couldn't see this plan because there's no logic. It's just craziness. Well, I mean, it's logic, but it's not.
I love this. I love the just the horror in his face. Like, oh, you are just doing something beyond me.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right, now here's my favorite. Again, it's either 13 or this one. I really love those. I love the introduction. I love this one so much. I really do. This one is by the way, last one was Red Light, Green Light. That was the Riddler.
Okay.
Backup. So this one, issue 16, Castle of Cards.
Castle of Cards. Nice.
Again, again, this is kind of the closest we get to the Court of Owls kind of labyrinth here, where basically Arkham turns into a medieval castle.
You're right. It does kind of have a little bit of the labyrinth stuff going on. I mean, obviously not quite as intense and trippy as the labyrinth, but there's some fun visuals here.
And honestly, this pays off the whole royalty of Gotham idea most, I feel.
For sure. Let's
see, we're still.
Oh wait, did I go back?
We're still in the jock stuff here. We got to get to the.
My bad.
There we go. Okay. So again, we have such great now this issue I think has the best layouts of all of these. Like Capullo has we have these great visual themes and cues that come back, and we introduce, of course, the big one with the Joker this issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I really like how the it's not just the standard blocked panels. Walt Disney was actually in his cartooning days. He was very much a component of this.
Go back a page.
The Winsor McKay style. Like surrealist nature to comic book panels.
Yeah, go back one. Let's show them what we're talking about here. So again, this is great. Again, we have back one.
This?
No. Left take, go backwards. Going forwards. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, sorry, we're good. This it's a great layout tease right here. Again, you think, okay, oh my God, Batman and Joker, they're dancing right now, and then they're really up close and really intimate. So Batman crying and Joker really up close, seductive and stuff, and then we reveal there we go. Then we reveal, oh God, it's like this horrific kind of. Joker's welcome wagon for Batman. It's like, hey, look at us dancing. Look at the dance we do. It's like all symbolic and stuff. And these poor schlubs, these poor inmates and guards. Oh, actually, I think they're all guards. But they're guards or inmates or very.
This is guards. One of the most horrific ideas. Is just the fact it's almost like a Purple Man style thing.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Basically, he's made these guards. I'm pretty sure they're guards. He made these guards memorize this routine and never stop. Oh, and God, you see the blood in the water of their feet. Their feet are bleeding because they've done this so many times again, just waiting for Batman to show up. and again, if they don't, they'll be electrified in the water. And I love this too, right here. Batman, he throws in. I love my Batman gadgets, and Snyder's a proponent of some really cool gadgets here. He throws in these absorbing pellets, where basically they absorb the water. And Joker commends Batman on, that's the Batman I remember. Basically saying that's the. And again, Joker's getting what he wants in this issue, which I think is so interesting. That again, it's wrapping you, the audience member. This is the Batman you remember, know and love, and it's also the Batman Joker knows and loves, and that kind of makes you like the Joker. That's terrifying.
Oh yeah.
And of course, let's talk about the fly motif.
Yeah, I mean, is there a fly motif?
Yes, there's a fly. What do you mean? Is there a fly motif?
Okay, I need to reread it, Dragon. These are the things I pick up on a rewatch.
I don't mean the hard playing, but literally the fly motif is like the single most important. Anyway, it's not important.
Like I said, I read through this in the span of about 3 hours, so it wasn't like I was. I'm gonna go back and rewatch this and take in all the little details and stuff. So I'm sorry.
Basically we have the motif of the castle, the royalty. We have the Batman and Joker, their endless dance, and of course the fly motif is a visual thing.
Oh wait, I mean, the fly does come back at the end at the very least, right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with the fly. Yeah, I now kind of thinking about it. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Anyway.
So, So yeah, let's see. So basically, as Batman's kind of making his way through these, again, very much like Serious House and the Serious Earth meets the Arkham games in a way. So again, very again, a lot of people are hitting the sweet spots of Batman here, and again, and that's the trick of it all. We're enjoying Batman, the traditional Batman, the very much kind of the loner Batman that we all know and love and we're used to. And again, the Joker's he's having a ball with, and of course here we have the horrific horse on fire moment.
This is like one of my favorite videos. This is like what you're talking about with the labyrinth style visuals right here.
This and the next one.
Oh man, it's so crazy.
The horse on fire, which again, that horse was brought in so prim and proper and wasn't led down the hallway so it could be lit on fire.
God.
And I love that Joker's like narrating through all of this too. By the way, it's kind of like Return of the. It's kind of like Batman Beyond Return of the Joker a little bit with the narration in Arkham Asylum.
I can see that, yeah.
So here we go, big reveal. All these inmates are armed with like all the guard uniforms and everything, with swords on fire. Again, it's like this. It's the medieval imagery. Again,
it's crazy. Yeah.
Again, it's Gotham's.
You see Transformers. This is how you do King Arthur stuff in an action movie.
And it's the modern day Gotham version of Knights, and it's like the Batman flavored version of.
It's kind of like an interesting sort of like nice successor to the Court of Owls imagery in a way.
Yeah, and if Court of Owls is rooted in Gotham's history, this is kind of Gotham's mythology, or Gotham's kind of the current state of Gotham. It's like and again, well, a lot of this is, and I guess we should hit upon this now, especially be that. Again, the reason Joker's trying to help Batman is like, again, you got to embrace your symbol, embrace who we are. You and I, again, we are symbols. He's offering him immortality in a way, not through a Lazarus pit or anything. He's offering immortality of like, hey, you and I can ascend to the next step. We're not who we are underneath our mask. And the whole face thing is that I cut off my face for a reason. My face was cut off to show that I am still who I am underneath my face. I'm still a grin.
I love that idea of like the Joker giving himself a mask. That is one of the best sort of pulls for his character. I've never thought of anything like that before.
Right?
The idea of the Joker.
And Joker's kind of holding it up to Batman's mask thing of like, is Batman Bruce Wayne or is he Batman? In this case, like, hey, and again, we, the audience, know this for especially many years of the animated series too. It's like traditionally the Batman, it's Batman Bruce Wayne's the mask. That's what we know. And Joker's saying, hey, yeah, deep down, you know you're Batman. I know you're Batman. So you and I are going to, because of that, we're building a legacy. We're building a mythology that, again, at least 78 years old at this point, that will keep us kind of young forever, kind of in our primes like that. And you got to cut ties to the family, cut ties to the people. Basically, and this is what's so brilliant about it to me, Tiki. Joker's saying, don't change. The Arkham games are sold on Batman not changing. We love Batman because he doesn't change. He doesn't kill people. He never takes that. He never takes that moment of change. He's always sticking on the straight and narrow. Batman is a static character, and Joker's saying, "Hey, I'm helping you remain static. You're bringing on all this help. You're fighting owls. I mean, this is new stuff. We gotta avoid the." Basically, Joker hates the New 52.
Again, Joker is the voice of the fanboys.
I know, and that I'm geeking out about that, man. All right, so of course we have some really great action sets. Again, Capullo just he's a master at this sort of stuff here. And I love all these bits where we kind of pull Batman using the grappling gun, then charging down at these guys. Like, oh boy, Batman takes out a room full of guys again single-handedly. Where again, Court of Owls, he needs the help.
For sure.
And again, Joker is getting what he wants, and we're enjoying. And now we have the most twisted image in the book. So first of all, again, fly motif.
Yeah, you're right.
Again, like as Joker's as we're getting more and more twisted, the flesh is getting more and more degraded and and decomposing.
This is straight out of a moment in Jeepers Creepers, by the way. The whole wall of flesh.
Let's see if we can try going to the right side. We might get it better. There we go.
Okay.
There we go. So yes, the tableau, the tapestry.
Oh God, I love how it's like the death in the family.
So yeah, now here's what we got here, folks. We got Laughing Fish again, my favorite Batman story. We got death in the family, and in the corner there, Tiki. That's no man's land because Joker he killed Gordon's wife, and he was holding a baby.
Oh God, Jesus.
That's a reference to. So basically, all the horrific stuff, basically everything but killing joke is in here. Because again, the story kind of feels like killing joke, so it's kind of. So now, Tiki, what I want to see if you picked up on this. You know what the most horrifying thing about this is, don't you?
What, the fact that all the bodies are stitched together?
No, well, yeah, more than that. There's something more horrific about it.
What's more horrific?
They're all alive.
Oh God, no, I did
Look
not
at the
pick up
bottom
on
panel. Look at
that.
the bottom panel.
Oh Jesus! Oh God.
Right now, okay. Look at the panel right above that, in the very like the middle of the left. Here, go left. Uh, all the way left of these panels here. The live flesh makes the colors pop. No.
Oh God! Oh
So what he
God!
had here is he had Dollmaker. He had Dollmaker. The guy cut off his face, kind of help him out.
Dollmaker is like one of my least favorite Batman villains for that reason, just because
Dollmaker stitched them together.
he works like Dollmaker works. He preys on like the whole surgical fears that I think both of us share, Dragon.
Oh yeah, definitely, yes. and seriously, taken, it kind of makes you appreciate the Dollmaker stuff from Gotham a little bit more. But because this, well, I'm not saying a lot, just a little. Because the idea is Joker wanted just to use dead bodies, but Dollmaker said make them alive. That was Dollmaker's suggestion.
God.
We saw what he did with living bodies. So we saw what he did to poor Jeffrey Combs in that show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just a horrific image.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so here we have like all the other. Again, we have like a nice little showing of kind of the other.
Yeah, gotta throw some cameos in there for good measure.
And again, I love how Batman quickly dispatches them. Again, playing in the Joker's hand about why. Again, Batman on some level, just looking at the results, whether he morally agrees with them or not, he has to admit Joker has a point. I mean, Batman is kind of made better by his villains, at least on a training level.
Sure.
Because and we have like the great comparisons on the loudspeaker as like Mr. Freeze is the groundskeeper, making sure like the weather is always kind of cold and horrific in Gotham. We have the royal player who's Clayface, and Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
The physician. I love how he calls Scarecrow the physician. Now here we go. Here's the big payoff.
Oh boy.
Can we increase? Can we blow this up a little? Or?
No, right. Not really.
No. Well, the point is, here's the big payoff. Joker and the idea. Here's the thing, Batman's he's rushing through this room. The reason he's taking out those guys so quickly is because he wants to get Joker before Joker has time. Again, it's like Sherlock Holmes going after Moriarty. He's trying to beat him to the punch just so he can defeat him. So he can get one step ahead of him. He can he can hopefully stop whatever he has planned before your Joker has like every one where he wants them to be. Unfortunately, even at this point, Joker still has everything where he needs them to be. And of course, we're going with the other symbols of Gotham, and they all have fancy hats and props.
Mm-hmm.
So Penguin as the bishop, again, the religion of crime in Gotham.
We like Two-Face as the judge.
Oh yeah, I love that half the wigs burned.
Yeah, right.
There's Riddler as the strategist, Two-Face the judge. Hey freak, hail freak. I love that Batman's in such a helpless position here, where it's like in the middle of the doorway, and he's just kind of sandwiched between them, just so it's the closest he can get in there. Because again, while he was stressed for time, they barricaded the room.
Mm-hmm.
And this, and again, the royal stuff we're doing here, like the Excalibur with a chainsaw, man. And it works almost like one like
it's so twisted.
It's like
it's almost like Saw or something like that, like the death traps.
It's like the death trap version of the Sword in the Stone of Disney.
Oh God!
You can pull the sword from the stone, but have like a timer, like something built in there.
Oh man!
and the idea, and here it's and the reason for this, and it's really good. The wide shot, we see all these poor guards. All these guards are dressed up like heroes. This poor overweight woman as Wonder Woman, and just we have Superman, we got Aquaman, we have Green Lantern. The idea is he's basically saying, Batman, you're the greatest hero of all. I could have gone to any other city, but I picked you for a reason. Let me show you why. Let me show you how unworthy the other guys are. And basically, that's the thing. They're going to pull and they're going to die.
I like how in this shot, there's like extra pins in his face after he got his face like popped off from the last time.
Exactly. This is one to fall off again. And you'll notice, again, the face is more is like greener, and it's getting more rotted, and all the flies are buzzing around now. Because, again, he took that face off of ice. Basically, the face was like on ice in like an air-conditioned room, and now in a refrigerated room. And now, ever since that moment, it's been slowly rotting because it's exposed to the air. It's not like properly, grafted on or something. And again, he has a hostage, and now it's seemingly Batman's at a loss. And I love this here. And this is the most brilliant conceit of the whole book for me. One of the most brilliant conceits coming up. How Batman actually I have this bit here where Batman breaks through
Fly
the
motif.
barricade. Yes, flies.
All right, I'm definitely picking up on it now that you mention it. Anyways,
Let's see. It's actually no, it's right. Top left panel. You go to the top left panel, right there. I mean, there's the great conceit. Batman breaks through the barricade really impressively, and then he throws a battering before the gate. Like, they have kind of the separating gate closing, so Batman can't just save him. But he gets a battering through just in the nick of time, separating the charge, and the Joker's plan is ruined. And seemingly, and they're behind bars, saying, "How are you going to get to us? I don't need to get to you. You're behind bars right now." And seemingly Batman's won, but then Joker proves his point here, and it's hard to argue. I love that Batman realizes Joker. There's a lot of truth in what Joker's saying here, that the sidekicks are a weakness for Batman, because Batman won, and now Joker has Batman at his mercy because in advance he's captured all the sidekicks. And again, this is the tie-in stuff here. Basically, this is the ending of all the tie-in stuff. Where he captures them at the end of the books.
And like I said, it kind of works where it's like, I don't necessarily have to read all these individual stories to know the context of what's going on.
Exactly. You don't. Again, Core values, it's like recommended, but you don't need it for core values. Here, it's like you really don't need to. But Anyway, so again, it's that fascinating idea that he has Batman at his mercy, and Batman has no choice but to take his throne again, take his place as Batman, which of course would lead ultimately to a demise. So very interesting. The Joker wins, and basically the next issue is icing on the cake of now Joker's going to make Batman suffer now that he's won.
Now this is a twisted panel right here.
Oh yeah, guys, look at the pins are coming off in that scene too.
All
and
right.
Again, he wants again this is all to help Batman. He's so gleeful about it.
I was, I gotta say, I was very caught up in this moment where I was like, oh my God, are they gonna have to throw Batman in the Lazarus pit or something like that?
but again, it's like you rarely see Batman lose against the Joker. I mean, aside from losing a sidekick, he's never really, lost like that. In the end, Joker had him where
just straight up, people are like, is he dead?
Yeah.
And just look at him, he's just kind of motionless, sitting there for the rest of the issue.
Yeah.
All right.
Good thing you had that cowl on. So, and here's the big moment where he tears down Two-Face. And I'm not saying this is entirely from the animated series, but it's kind of funny. In the animated series, Joker makes fun of Two-Face a lot.
Oh yeah.
Here, though, Joker just again is showing how verbally virulent the Joker can be to people. He really, and again, I love how he uses honesty. And this story is called Judgment, by the way, again, because it's really Two-Face centric. Where while he's giving pep talks to everyone else, he tears down Two-Face. He, it's basically while Joker inspired the other two, he laughs in Two-Face's face. He says, you're a joke. He says, and it's a really interesting idea in Gotham. We personify Gotham a little bit here. In Gotham, justice is meaningless. It means nothing. Again, Harvey Dent, gets acid splashed in his face, and now he's saying, "Harvey, don't." It's like the anti-Dark Knight moment in a way.
Right.
Where he says, "Hey, Harvey, look, you've been aching to do this for the longest time. Okay, the acid was just an excuse. Don't play it like, oh, you don't know if you're good or if you're bad. You're bad, all right? Just don't make it like a whole. Basically, he's making fun of the whole coin dynamic here." And it's basically there's no point to your gimmick, Dent. There's no point to what if you represent justice and law and order and Gotham. There is absolutely no point to who you are. If again, I have the patriarch, the patron saint of crime here with the Penguin. If he exists, then your job is pointless. And of course, here it says, you saw what I did in Enigma. Basically, he had tranquilizers in Enigma's jacket just to show how prepared the Joker is. Says, if I did that to Enigma, I gave you that gun. I gave you your half black, half white costume. Imagine what I've done. That gun could shoot you in the head backwards. It could be blanks. It could be you have no idea. It could give you a zap. You have no idea what it's going to do. Do you want to take that chance? How many coins do you have to flip? How many sides to that coin? And then Two-Face is left speechless.
Yeah, this is again. I love these moments where these these otherwise very intimidated villains are just kind of like, cut off at their knees by what Joker's doing.
And of course, this is like the big hype too of like what the heck is under that platter. Now, I take it. I should tell you this: the only notable thing about the main notable thing about the tie-ins, that in addition to ending with eventually Joker captures them, they did this device. It didn't play as well as it could have, but regardless, it ends on this thing where he holds the covered platter in front of all of the Robins who've just been captured.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is like we've been building up this platter for all of those tie-ins. So if you didn't buy into what was under the platter, then obviously you were not going to.
Right.
I was saying this is like the most built-up thing in this story from all the comics.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that being a big marketing gimmick.
But again, context of the story is perfectly fine. But again, it makes you interested. Like, tell me this, Steve? Did you call what was under the platter?
Yes, I did. I was like, oh, it's got to be their faces, right?
I thought it was. Honestly, I thought it was going to be Alfred's face. I didn't know like it was going to be like how. Again, I didn't know how many platters because those tines mess with my head.
It was going to be at least one person's face.
That's the thing. I thought it was going to be one platter, but then as the thing started, okay, well, it's as many people at a table, so all have their individual platters, and it kind of unfolds as it unfolds. There's a great cover right there. Probably the best cover, I think.
Oh yeah. All right. We don't get any one-offs?
No, this is the ending.
Okay.
So cool. The last one, of course, is called, appropriate enough, The Punchline.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So now I love this. This, of course, is like, the famous bat flying, basically the inspiration for the bat gimmick for Batman. Or like
sure.
He fell down the cave and the bat was flying towards him, and the Jokerized version of that would be the bat skeleton. And oh, God, it's so creepy. And remember, what's cool about this, Tiki? That little book, basically Joker's tease, he has this little book with all the secrets of the Bat family written in it, remember?
Yeah.
And it's made from the skin of a bat. And
right.
That's the bat that he skinned.
Oh, I like that.
Again, he's been planning this thing for a year, Tiki. He has everything figured out.
Oh, man. And just, again, with the artwork, just look how over the top, just happy the Joker looks here.
Oh, yeah. There's also kind of a creep that I was looking at now. Something kind of occurred to me. Another kind of year thing is that they, Gordon and Bullock kind of mentioned this chimera, this two-headed cat that was born at a zoo during a kids' party.
Uh-huh.
And it's been around for like this, and in the first issue, we haven't seen it since this issue. And with this chimera thing, it implies that Joker was a clown at a birthday party to get that chimera.
Oh, God.
That's the implication, but I can't verify.
Right.
All right, so here we go. Here's the big. Again, Joker's won, and now he's proving his point with Batman. This is Joker's like rubbing Batman's face in it here, and I love Capullo just has this. He shows Batman's emotions so well, so little.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And we see just how struck Batman is. One, he's so happy that Alfred's alive.
Just like the little circular thing he does with the eye right here and the cracks in the eye. That's all you need.
Oh, yeah, and of course we see the Jokerized Alfred is nightmare-inducing.
But I do like how Bruce is like, oh, thank God, just to see Alfred alive.
Yeah, that's the other thing, Tiki, is that with the whole death of thing, people expecting someone to die. It wasn't necessarily a Robin, but someone to die.
Uh-huh.
Alfred was the big one everyone thought might get killed off in the story. A lot of people thought Alfred was going to die in the story.
All right.
So yes, oh boy, big moment here, the unveiling. With everyone,
this is definitely my favorite moment in the story. I mean, how can it not be?
This is where you put it together, bloody, blood under the wrappings. You and all these platters. Like, oh my God, did he cut their faces off? Oh my God! And as a Bat fan, I tell you, initially I was thinking, oh my God, they're gonna use the EMP. Do you remember the EMP mask from Court of Owls, like that thing Dick Grayson put on to look like the Joker?
Yes.
I was thinking, oh God, they're gonna have like a year of they're gonna have while they're getting skin grafts or something, right? They're gonna be wearing those things to pretend they have faces.
Oh God!
As this was happening, it's like, oh God, that's what they're gonna have to do.
Oh man,
horrific. It's the only way they can go on. Anyway, so then we have the big, and this also, T. This is important to note. This issue was released on Valentine's Day.
Oh God. Okay, this right here. This is by far my favorite image of this whole book.
I made it with lots of love.
Oh God, I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you how much I love this.
I mean, if that's not like the Valentine's Day card, I don't know what is. It's just like that. That's what you give your romantic partner right there. A clown with a removed face holding a two-headed, probably a prematurely born cub with removed faces in the shape of a heart. Man, that's love for you. That's love between a clown and a guy dressed like a bat, if I've ever seen it.
Oh man.
And also Joker back, and he's in the purple. Like is like the culmination of everything with the Joker. He's in his purple finest.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one of my favorite lines in the book. Here's my favorite, the Batman one right there, right below it. I love the intensity. I love everything about this image here. Just like Batman, this perfect line.
Oh yeah.
I hate nothing more on this earth than you, Joker. Nothing. Oh God, he hates. Again, just believing that the faces have been cut off. This Batman pissed off more than he's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, man, there's so much to decompress. I'm just trying to find the right words here. So again, all of this boiling down to a dinner party in itself is just great, and that's kind of what we're hitting on with. Like, kind of, I made it with love. Just all of this has been like the most civilized of gatherings, but it's like this most horrific of main courses.
Right.
And essentially here, this whole scene is just predicated around this is Joker offering Batman that chance to go back to basics. I'm offering a chance not to change Batman, be the immortal symbol you and I are for good and evil, for hero villain. And the truth, and again, when I saw the Lego Movie, I was thinking of like Lego Movie is the light version of this essentially.
Oh, it really is, right? It's
Lego Batman movie.
Uh-huh.
And again, that's what so when I was watching that, I was thinking back at this, like, oh my God, it's kind of it's the kid-friendly version of this story.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, as you said, like the main crux of this has to do with like this whole story is like a twisted love letter to Batman in a way, and yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from there.
Yeah, and basically what Joker's saying with all of this is that, hey, the truth is, Batman, you got to admit to yourself, and again, in front of the whole Bat family, that's what's important here. He's showing the family Batman's true colors here. He's kind of outing him in front of the family. You're saying, the truth is, you love that. You love being a symbol, our relationship, more than this false family of yours. Of course, with Bruce Wayne, always a guy rebuilding a family on some level. Mm-hmm. And again, makes you wonder, does he know or not? Who you keep putting at risk and in turn weakening yourself, because they're always going to be the way of getting you. They throw you off your game and one of them gets killed and brought back. Mm-hmm. And basically, and it's so bizarrely convincing. That's the thing, is like Joker's saying, it's so demented, but it's from a place of wanting to help, where he's essentially saying, why don't you kill him? By leaving, importantly, leaving the table, basically abandon your family to be the loner, and because there are flints at the bottom of the whole place is doused in gasoline.
Kind of like going back to square one, right? Like just starting over, pressing the reset button.
Exactly, press the reset button, and literally leaving the table, abandoning the family, walking away from the family, or again, like the round table, whatever you want to view it as, but again, family. Leave the family as the head of the table. There are flints at the bottom of your chair, so if you pull that chair back, it'll light a blaze, and all of them will die in a fire. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and burn, kind of scorch the earth, star new, as you said. And basically saying, put them out. Again, Joker's kind of saying something. He's trying to do them a service in a way, saying, hey, put them out of their misery. He's trying to help them in a weird way too, which is really twisted.
Right.
He's like, hey, put them out of their misery. Before the thing. A lot of people are mad, like, why didn't Joker just do something horrible? Why didn't he actually do something horrible to him? But the truth is, Joker's saying, I could do this anytime. I'm that good, Batman.
It's kind of like playing with audience expectation, almost kind of like being the voice of the audience in a way.
Which is what Joker did at the very beginning, and then we telegraphed this in a wonderful way. That Joker could have done this. He's been doing the inverse of his crime, so you'd expect him to just kill him off nice and simple, but no, he's trying to deliver a point to Batman, saying, hey, you should do this. I can do this. You were in such a helpless position because of these people. I could have killed them all when you woke up. But in this case, I'm showing you I could have done. I could have actually cut off their faces and kind of left them like that. I could have basically you kill them now. Let them die, kill them now, so they won't have to face me doing something 10 times worse to them, or any other villain doing something 10 times worse to them. Doing the service of just ending it now, amicably. Kiss them goodbye and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just invigorating stuff. And yeah, it's just, and of course, the big old. And again, the thing that's really traumatizing to the Bat family, I think, is that while it was to put out the fire, Batman did get up. He didn't let Joker lit the match because he was going to do it himself. But I think it's telling that Batman got up first.
Yeah.
It's the fact that, again, like it's like,
hey,
hey,
man, this has been going on for like over 2 hours, so we really need to like speed this up.
All right. So let's see. So moving on with the sequence here. We get to this point, so now we're kind of entering the Dark Knight Returns of it all here. Basically, Batman and Joker kind of doing their dance somewhat. Again, kind of a water kind of coated area, kind of like the Tunnel of Love, I guess.
Right.
And also, I like that we're in instead of like a Tunnel of Love, which was Joker's kind of we're in Batman's element instead of being in Joker's element like we were then. Like we're in a cave, one of the various caves that leads to the Batcave. And again, we don't know if Joker knows or not because again, it's a cave in a system of caves. Mm-hmm. So while they're doing their thing, meanwhile Alfred is basically Joker's contingency plan here to have the family destroy themselves in the cat, and it's so in the cub. The cub blows up, and it disperses a Joker toxin that makes them all go crazy and try to kill each other.
Wait a minute, hold on. Really quick before we get into that, I just want to highlight this little moment with Damian Wayne. I don't know, just
it's a nice fatherly moment between showing that Batman does care about these guys.
It is, and I just really like the the reveal that it was all a psychological trick. It was a very well done moment. That was another thing that this is probably one of my top 3 or 4 moments in the whole book for me, to tell you the truth, honestly. Damian Wayne doesn't have a ton to do, but like you said, just the essence of Batman being a father figure. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay. In this case, a literal father to that kid.
For sure.
And, of course, here's
I love the intensity of Batman running in this panel. I love how this whole page is put together and designed. And she said, just look at this cat, man. It's just such a creepy design as well.
And it blows up.
Yep.
Oh, God. So it's kind of like the cell phone from the Dark Knight here.
A little bit, yeah.
Now, of course, here's where we
get just a crazy finale here. Just again with the great Greg Capullo artwork showing the face getting torn off. Just the action, as you say, Greg Capullo is just really, really good when it comes to action, and the cutting back and forth between the family, kind of tearing each other apart, and Batman and Joker going at it. It's all just a really, really well done, really well put together finale.
Go back 2 or 3 pages real quick. The axe thing. Go back to the axe. One more. No, we're going forward. Keep backwards. Keep going. And there we go. Axe. So of course we pay off the axe image, and it's kind of neat that the axe is in the shape of the bat symbol.
Johnny.
Yep, and it's literally in the shape of the bat symbol. He's attacking him with Batman. And again, it's that nightmare come alive, where again he was attacking with an axe. Then we're doing that visually here, and again it's a nice little action sequence. We also have an homage to the death in the family with the crowbar coming back.
Of course, right.
And again, Alfred here. I love how Alfred represents family for Bruce Wayne. He saves the family. I love that Alfred saves the family. Again, the guy who was kind of taken out of the equation early on. He is, he's even in the Jokerized state, Alfred is just so who we love him and who he is, that he says family. He stops him. In that Jokerized state from killing each other, which is really nice. And here we go. Here's a big face showdown in the book between Batman and Joker here. Basically, the intellectual thing, or basically Batman outbluffs the Joker, and it's great.
Oh yeah.
Or basically, and I love how this defeat goes. So basically, he's taking away that immortal symbol idea from the Joker here, where he's saying, he's saying, Joker, actually, there's something different between you. He's saying, oh, yeah, admit it, Batman. You love me. You love what we do. You don't kill me. The reason you don't kill me is because of some slippery slope thing. It's because deep down, you're going to, 9 times out of 10, you're going to save me. You're going to save the villain before you're going to save the sidekick because, you have so many of them. Essentially, is kind of what he's been saying. And basically, what Batman's saying is, Joker, you're wrong about this one thing, is the fact that I did figure out. Basically, Joker's saying, we don't care who each other are. We are the face underneath the mask. We are who we are. And Batman basically tries to take that away from him by saying, hey, I know who you are. I figured it out in that year you were gone. I finally figured it out. So you and I don't have that in common. And he basically says he's threatening to make Joker an ordinary man who fell in the chemicals, the thing that Batman's been holding true this whole time, which fills the Joker with fear. Joker doesn't want to be an ordinary man. He wants to be that long-lasting symbol that he's been trying to lovingly make Batman into as well. Oh, yeah. And Joker would rather die than spoil the fun. He would rather die than kind of make them ordinary men. That's why he shocks the crap out of Batman's mouth here. And again, Joker, he falls to, presumably as in typical Joker fashion, falls to his quote-unquote demise.
Of course. Right.
And again, the mask thing here, and the closest we see of Joker's face is that left panel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Down. When he's falling. Left. There we go. That's like that chin.
You're right.
That is the closest you're going to see before you just buy the graphic novel. That's the closest you're going to see. And then we see, of course, the book with the bat skin was blank, which means Joker was bluffing as well. So it was all bluff. Batman was right about his thing about the Joker. We're going to linger on then the epilogue here. Mm-hmm. Let's see, epilogue, basically, Batman goes into a story here. And it's really nice to see Batman caring for Alfred, and Alfred hates that. He hates being helpless like Batman does.
Right.
It's really sweet seeing, it's like Batman taking care of his father in a way. It's like Batman taking care of his father figure in Alfred. Now, that bottom image is the creepiest image in the book.
This right here?
To an extent. I mean, it's an eerie image, seeing Joker just without purpose he's just waiting for Batman. He's staring at the wall. He just cares about nothing else but Batman. Without the makeup or anything. He doesn't have the red lipstick. It's the most human you see the Joker, but at the same time he's still otherworldly with the eyes.
Again, going back to the eyes, there is a little bit of humanity in these eyes.
I know, right? It's the most human-looking Joker, but at the same time, he's otherworldly, right?
Sure, yeah.
And essentially, what that is just the idea that Joker he only cares about Batman. So it's kind of like the Jim Gordon thing. Does Jim Gordon know that Batman is Bruce Wayne? Jim Gordon he has an idea, but he doesn't want to pursue it. Joker, he just doesn't care. Joker, he only cares about Batman, even if he doesn't want to know who Batman is, even though Bruce is kind of like testing the waters there. Just he only cares about the guy. He only cares about the mask of Batman. Anything else just doesn't faze him. And again, it's really fascinating. Here we go. There's that.
And this is, I gotta say, I thought this was a very satisfying kind of like wrap up, kind of like, oh, that's what the title means. Like, I got it, man. I completely understand what they were going for.
Exactly. Now, also, I want to announce on here. Click on that top right panel. So this panel, that's something I got to stress, folks. There's a better version of this panel in the comic versus the collected version or the Kindle version in this case. So I'm just going to say real quick. So here essentially we're kind of spelling out the things that people understand that it was the death of the family, and he cares about the family, which is all well and good, and that's fine. But there was such a better version of it where basically Batman. He answered the question to Alfred why he really doesn't kill the Joker. And it was a great thing that kind of foreshadows future stories with the Snyder Batman. It felt more like kind of like what Snyder wanted to communicate, is that he tells Alfred the reason he didn't kill the Joker, and I always love this, is like it's a better reason of why he doesn't kill the Joker instead of the whole slippery slope thing. I really love it as an explanation that deep down, what he said is deep down he knows that if he ever did kill the Joker, and again, personifying Gotham, the city will throw something worse at him, something worse, or bring him back in a way worse than he ever was.
But you know what's great about that is that it's kind of like Batman sort of like acknowledging the otherworldly quality that the Joker possesses.
And also, again, kind of it's him kind of acknowledging kind of that otherworldliness of the city as well. But yeah, you're right, though. It's kind of him kind of acknowledging the Joker is something something he can't describe it. He scientifically can't find it, but he knows there's something because we saw that he was bluffing. He has no idea who the Joker is.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's the thing. There's still answers about the Joker he will never be able to find out.
All right.
So yeah, and then basically what we're doing here is the family is they again the psychological trauma of what they've been through and like the truth that the Joker did speak. And there's a lot of things that while Batman does obviously care about the family, as we see, he doesn't like what Joker's saying wasn't necessarily true, but there were nuggets of truth in there, and that really struck a chord with him. And the fact that they were almost defaced, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they could have died, and there's a lot of truth in what the Joker said about what their futures as his sidekicks and being in Batman's life could be. Batman called for this meeting, and they all made up excuses why they couldn't make it because they're really shaken by this event.
Yeah, I really like it. I really like it. It's a nice note to end out on.
And I think it's telling that Dick Grayson, he was the closest to actually showing up there, but he stopped himself, saying, he wasn't gonna and be able to make it, but he was right outside the gates, just showing there is a divide between them, and Joker won in the end, which is kind of twisted. Batman didn't, take his side there. Batman, it's like Joker still killed the family, but he didn't get Batman over to his side.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is interesting. And of course, we have the really haunting note to end on. Or again, there's that whole identity unknown with the Joker.
Oh yeah.
And of course, now I got to explain this because we didn't really go over this real quick. So basically, the Joker toxin they were all infected with. Batman breaks down the compounds like he does with any Joker toxin. He realized there was like an isotope in there, like a really bizarre isotope, but nothing lingering, nothing dangerous. There was an additional isotope that really had no effect on the toxin for some mysterious reason. And the isotope, of course, looks like Ha. And of course, we see just Batman on Ha. Ha, 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 and then there's the Fly. And we end on the Fly intimating that Joker might still be in the Batcave. Joker's going to come back again.
Well, I mean, I definitely caught the Fly as the visual symbol of the Joker. I just, on first read, I had no idea. Like, I didn't catch how much the Fly was there.
Well, I'm just saying the Fly was kind of important in the very end.
It was, for sure.
But importantly, it's just saying that, again, it's the fact that something worse might come back or Joker might come back as something worse than the Fly, just being kind of that creepy, uncertain note to end on with that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's the book.
All right. Well, I'm certainly glad that I stuck through and read this out and everything. I'm not sure how good the podcast was on my end because, like I said, I've only read this the one time. So, Dragon, I'm very sorry. I feel like you kind of carried a lot of the weight on this thing. And also my family went to bed kind of early too, so that also kind of contributed to me not being able to talk so much. So I just want to apologize for that. This was kind of like mostly your effort explaining all this stuff. I kind of just chimed in from time to time. But no, like I said, it is a very good sort of horror movie interpretation of the Joker. I'm very much interested to see where they go with this. You know what I'm more interested in, Dragon, than the Gotham of it all is I'm more interested in how something like this could tie into the standalone Joker movies. You know what I mean? Like, that's the really fascinating thing for me. Like, I'm sure they want to adapt something like this directly, but I do think it'd be interesting to kind of do the more horror movie style of the Joker. And I really thought that this was a great kind of, showcase of something in that, like, kind of leaning in that direction. And I'm very excited to see where Scott Snyder kind of goes from here. I'm not sure how often we'll do the, these comic book reviews, but, I am interested in reading through the Snyderverse. I'm fascinated by the idea of the Riddler being the main villain next time, and I'm also very interested to see what happens when the Joker comes back. All good stuff.
Well, let me tease two things here. Is what we might do with Snyder. What the next Snyder stories would be.
Mm-hmm.
Briefly said, actually, I'm not saying an immediate stuff because of course we got stuff going on, but let's just say maybe before Gotham comes back from a mid-season or before they do like that weird mini mid-season thing, we could do Zero Year because Zero Year actually has a lot to do with Gotham Season 4 because that's it's kind of Bruce in the vigilante days of Batman before it's Bruce discovering what Batman is.
Yeah, I'll just let you be the guide, my friend.
So I'm saying there's that. That would be the immediate next one, just in the line of when we're doing these things. And here's the one I have to tease. So,
okay.
Of course, now taking this got me super excited when I listened to Fat Man on Batman, and Snyder and Capullo teased this back when, and basically we got 0 year. We had 0 year kind of in between these stories, but at the same time, like I just knew the story was coming at some point. I never knew when, but then I was so excited when it was officially announced. So basically, Snyder teased this way back when. I'm going to tease it with you now. This death of the family is Joker in love with Batman. The story that we'll get into after 0 year is the successor to this story, Endgame, Batman Endgame, a story in which the Joker comes back, but he hates Batman. This was all love. Imagine what this Joker is going to be like, hating Batman. Basically, Batman kind of spurned his affections by dropping him down, by letting when he fell down the cave. In this case, Joker's going to come back and he's going to hate Batman. It's gonna be
yeah, terrible. I mean, you've made this case for me before, and I'm definitely interested. So we'll see how it goes.
So on the whole, final thoughts then.
I already gave my final thoughts, my friend. I don't feel like regurgitating them again. Go ahead.
All right, I'll just, for me, it's on the whole, this is probably one of my favorite Snyder stories. I love them all, but I don't know, this one to me, and they're all great, they're all diverse. I love, I mean, all the Snyder stories, I think they're all great. I think they're all diverse. They don't really repeat themselves in a way, at least in my experience. I love how this explores the lore of Batman, and it cuts deepest to Batman and his audience. Again, it's kind of the logic of the kind of the story there, and it's kind of what, again, Joker's kind of holding a mirror up to kind of to Batman his many years and like his fan base in a way. I like I like the shortness of the story. I like it's got some remarkable Joker stuff in it, and again it's a fascinating exploration of their dynamic to me. So I got a lot of love for the story. So big fan.
All right. Well, folks, thanks for joining us, and we will be back talking about more Gotham stuff. Of course, we've got the animated Batcave, which we're in the middle of, got on a good run there, which is apparently going to be interrupted with the next episode, but we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, Gotham is coming back this next Thursday. We'll be doing a speculation podcast on season 4 before then. And in the meantime, Dragon, you know what I really, really want above all things?
What?
I want a pony.